The Vegas Golden Knights are one of the most hated teams in the NHL, and there's some valid reasons to that. Mark Stone surprisingly always getting hurt in February, being out for the remainder of the season, but in game number 1 of the playoffs, he's going to be ready to roll. It seems kind of suspect that he gets hurt right before the trade deadline. Vegas can use all of his money to trade for a couple players, and then game 1 of the postseason, he's 100% healthy, ready to roll. It seems like they're cheating a little bit, but to be fair, I think they're just thinking outside the box. Name one NHL team that probably inquired about Tomas Hertl thinking that he was actually available for trade. When this trade happened, I thought I was reading it wrong. I thought it was a joke. In what world is Tomas Hertl getting traded from the San Jose Sharks to the Vegas Golden Knights of all teams? But somehow Vegas was able to do it. Also at the trade deadline, they picked up Noah Hanifin, a great player for them. He's definitely going to help them compete for a Stanley Cup, if not win a Stanley Cup this season, because that team's looking absolutely fantastic. Adin Hill, Logan Thompson, two fantastic goaltenders they can run. This team has a real shot at winning a Stanley Cup. So that's what we're going to try to do in today's video. We're going to try to win a Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights. However, we're not trying to win one Stanley Cup, not two, not three, not four, but this is a 25-year rebuild. We're trying to win as many as possible. And since this roster was constructed after the trade deadline, we're going to see what they can do if they played a full 82 games together. So we're going to simulate right to the end of the year for year number 1 and see what happens. After this season, that's when the true rebuilding is going to begin. So the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be a bit of a disappointment this season, 7th in the entire league with a 48-30-4 record. The offense surprisingly wasn't as good as I thought, while the defense also not as good as I was thinking. This team in general did not play up to expectations. I was expecting us to be much better. Mark Stone's going to be leading the way here, 72 points. Tomas Hertl is coming in second with 68. The main reason this team did not succeed is the scoring here. Yeah, we got some amazing depth scoring, but the big time players weren't making big time plays. While Adin Hill, 39 wins, 3 shots, a 905 and a 294. I need you to be a bit better than this. But you know what? Vegas has got some playoff performers. That's what we need here. It's time for this team to set a standard and win a Stanley Cup here, going back to back if you count last season. So the Minnesota Wild are putting up a decent fight against us in the first round. We split the series so far, and game number 5 is going to be a disappointing overtime loss for us. So we better respond here. We can't be going out in the first round in season number 1. That is tough. That is very tough. But you know what's a bigger disappointment? The fact that we haven't hit 62,000 subscribers yet. So you should subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now that was definitely a disappointing loss in the first round, but it was made pretty clear what this team needs. We need goal scoring and we need better defense. So basically the team in general has to be better. Now really the only thing I'm fine with when it comes to this team is the goaltending situation, because Adin Hill, you can definitely be the guy for a short term. You're 28 years old, that's why I'm saying short term. You probably only have about 5 good years left in you. So we're going to sign you to an extension as quick as possible, and that's probably going to be the beginning of next season. If we can lock you down to a 5x5, that would be ideal for us. So the first trade of the video is just going to be us acquiring some future picks here. We're getting a 3rd rounder and a 5th rounder from the Anaheim Ducks. We're giving them a 6th and 2 7s. Unfortunately, we're not going to be getting the 5th rounder here. I think we can get something other than the 3rd though. So maybe if you give me a 6th rounder instead of a 5th, we'll be able to get this deal done. We got a future 3rd and 6th rounder. So we got to make some tough decisions on who we're going to be bringing back to the team. Jonathan Marchessault is a UFA, Noah Hanifin, Chandler Stevenson, Alec Martinez. I mean, Alec Martinez isn't coming back, I can tell you that right now. But these 3 guys, we can't bring them all back. Now, Noah Hanifin is the youngest out of all these guys right here, and he's actually on the best deal. Can we lock him down 4.5 for the next 5 years? That would be an incredible deal for us. Okay, we actually might be bringing everyone back here. Chandler Stevenson, we can do 4.9 for the next 6, and then Marchessault, if we can do 5.9 for the next 3 years, then we have enough money for everyone. Now, out of all the extensions I offered out, the only person saying no is Noah Hanifin, so we're just going to give him exactly what he wants, 4.85 for the next 4. Now, everyone else on this list right here, we're going to be letting walk, including these RFAs, because I mean, this guy only has 70 potential. A couple of these guys have AHL potential. If you don't have any trade value or you don't have any good potential, there's no point keeping you on this team. After getting through the re-sign phase, we're heading into next season, and some guys already want extensions. Shea Theodore is one of them. Here's 8.8 for the next 8. We also have to decide who's going to be our goaltender for the future. It's between Adin Hill and Logan Thompson here. Logan Thompson is a bit cheaper, like he's $1 million cheaper per year, so we could technically lock him down 5 years at $4.5 million. Adin Hill is 1 overall higher, but then again, Logan Thompson on a cheaper contract, I think he's the guy that we go with here. With that being said, I think it's time we trade Adin Hill away, get some assets for him, and we got to make a couple changes to this team. Alright, so I think we're going to do a 3-team trade with William Karlsson. He's going to be shipped over to the New York Rangers along with 2 3rd rounders. We're picking up Keandre Miller and a 1st round pick. So after trading away William Karlsson, this is the guy we're targeting right here, Leo Carlsson from the Anaheim Ducks. We already know who Leo Carlsson is. We already know what type of player he turns into. A 1st rounder and Keandre Miller from the New York Rangers is going to be sent over. They're going to be saying no here, but I think we're going to be able to get this deal done. The reason we couldn't get it done with William Karlsson is he didn't fit the trade block, but you know what? We got some assets that do fit the trade block, and I think we're going to find a way to get this done. However, this deal is costing us a lot more than I was expecting. A first rounder, Keandre Miller, 2 seconds, and a third rounder. Is this worth it for Leo Karlsson? It better be. Now, we're really not going to be doing too many deals here, but I will do something with Sean Monahan that looks like this. We're going to do 4 years at $3.4 million. Outside of the few trades we made in this free agent signing, we're actually not going to be doing anything to this team. We're just going to run it back and see what happens. Granted, we were a top team in the NHL, and we're actually in a better spot right now, so this team is going to be bouncing back. There's no question about it. Now, I want to give this core one last chance here. Jack Eichel, Jonathan Marchessault, Tomas Hertl, Chandler Stevenson, Mark Stone. If we don't win a Stanley Cup this season, there's going to be some big changes, and more than likely that's going to involve Mark Stone getting traded, because this man does not have any good line fits. He can't really play on the first line, can't play on the second, third, or fourth. He doesn't really fit this team and what we're trying to do here. Leo Karlsson, he's a good young player. He's going to be here for a long time, 19 years old. He's adding a bit of youth to this core, and that's exactly what we need. Meanwhile, Sean Monahan, he's going to be a great player here on the third line. We have near perfect fits on the third line right now, so all of these guys are going to be sticking around long term as long as I can keep them here. Defensively, we know Shea Theodore just got a big extension, so he's going to be here long term. Alex Pietrangelo, I can't say the same for you though. You're 34 years old. You probably only have 2 good seasons left in you before you start declining rapidly. So we're going to try to get the last bit of good hockey out of you before we ship you out. And then when it comes to the goaltenders, Adin Hill, this is going to be your last season with the team. And then Logan Thompson, we're going to be rocking with you for the future. More than likely at the trade deadline, Adin Hill is going to be shipped out and we'll bring in a young player. Logan Thompson's the future for this team and I have full belief in him. So the Vegas Golden Knights are having an okay season so far. 7th in the entire league at the trade deadline, 35, 18, and 9. The offense definitely needs to step up here. 3.37 goals is definitely not enough. While the defense can't complain about that, I think that might be the best in the entire league. Okay, it's 3rd best in the entire league, 2.73. We have no issues with that. We just got to score more goals. And when looking at the forward core, it's very clear what we're lacking, an actual goal scorer. We have no snipers on this team, and that's about to change. We're making some moves. Meanwhile, Adin Hill, this is going to be your last chance at the Stanley Cup with the team. You've got 30 wins so far, 2 shots, a 916 to 261. Logan Thompson, although you have more losses than wins right now, a 910 to 278 is perfectly fine. So Mark Stone, you're having an okay season with the team. 58 points in 62 games isn't that bad, but you know what? We got to upgrade this team, and unfortunately, you're just going to come at the cost of upgrading this team. So you're going to be sent over to the Detroit Red Wings, and we're going to be picking up Alex DeBrincat, 89 overall, 27 years old. He's probably going to pick up a superstar X factor. He's going to bring some goal scoring to the team, and that's desperately what we're missing here. So I think we're just going to be going 1-for-1 here. Unfortunately, Detroit's going to be saying no, but I think a 3rd or 4th rounder can be the difference. So here's Vegas's 4th round pick for this upcoming season. I think that will be the difference. They're actually going to be saying no to this. We got to throw a 7th rounder. So here's a 2026 7th round pick, and we just acquired Alex DeBrincat. I didn't want to have to give up a ton of Vegas's core early on, but you know what? We want to win Stanley Cups here. We can't be realistic. I mean, to be fair, it's a 25-year rebuild. Basically, nothing I do is going to be realistic, and that's not going to be the only move we do here. Jonathan Marchessault, I know I gave you an extension to stay on this team, but cut to the chase. You're 34 years old. You're not getting any better. Brock Boeser, you can score some goals for us, so I'd love to bring you to the team here. Marchessault for Brock Boeser, a 2nd and 4th rounder. They're going to be saying no. I'll take that 4th rounder out. Ideally, we can get some draft compensation as well. I think we might be able to get a 3rd rounder or something. Unfortunately, Vancouver doesn't have any 3rd round picks, so maybe we can just get 2 4th rounders. Are we really going to be going 1-for-1 here? It doesn't look like it. We're going to be able to pick up a 4th rounder as well. And then our final move before we head into next season, Nick Waugh is going to be shipped over to the New Jersey Devils, and we're going to pick up Dawson Mercer. We just picked up 3 snipers at the trade deadline. We're going to be scoring a lot more goals, and I think we might be able to win a Stanley Cup now. So after making the moves that we did, we're definitely sitting in a better spot. A +5 boost on the first line with Brock Boeser at Jack Eichel and Tomas Hertl's side, while Chandler Stevenson, Leo Karlsson, and Alex DeBrincat are going to be holding it down that second line, getting a +5 boost as well. Unfortunately, a guy like Dawson Mercer doesn't have a good fit on the third line whatsoever, but you know what? He adds a little bit of scoring, so he's going to help us. So the moves we made clearly helped this team a lot. We're finishing 4th in the entire league with a 50, 22, and 10 record. The offense is stepping up big time here, 3.48 goals per game, while the defense still looking fantastic, 2.79. I think the Vegas Golden Knights are ready to win another Stanley Cup. After making the moves we did, we definitely saw the scoring stepping up here. Jack Eichel, he's finishing with 90 points here. Alex DeBrincat, 87. What'd you do since we acquired you? 31 points in 20 games. Yeah, you were pretty good. Brock Boeser, what'd you do since acquiring? I'm hoping for something similar. 24 points in 20 games. That's not bad whatsoever. Meanwhile, Dawson Mercer, I don't really expect you to do too much here. What'd you do? 8 points in 20 games, including 6 goals. You know what? You scored a couple goals, and that's what you were brought in to do here. Meanwhile, Adin Hill, I'm assuming your numbers are still looking great. Yes, they are. Logan Thompson, we already know you're going to be taking over in between the pipes next season, but until then, it's Adin Hill's crease, and he's going to get us a Stanley Cup. And I'm very surprised to say that we're going to be matching up against the Anaheim Ducks in the first round here. I have no clue how the Anaheim Ducks made to the playoffs in year number 2, but you know what? They must be a pretty solid team now. A lot of the young guys must have developed. We better watch out for them. Now, we just about made it 6 straight wins against the Anaheim Ducks. because we won here, and then we won 3 straight games to start the playoffs. Unfortunately, we're going to be dropping game number 4, but that's fine because we're just going to respond in game 5. We're not going to blow a 3-0 series lead, are we? We got to win here in game number 6. No way. This is going to be a monumental choke. Okay, so things are looking pretty solid for the team. We have a 3-0 series lead entering the third period. I don't think we're going to be blowing this series lead unless something stupid happens here. We're winning this one 4-1, but man, we really almost blew a 3-0 series lead. That would have been tough. We win 5 straight games against the Anaheim Ducks and then immediately lose 4 after that. That would not be a good look for this team. Watching us struggle against the Anaheim Ducks though didn't give me a lot of confidence moving into the second round, and now we have to take on Connor McDavid. So I think we should pack our bags a bit early because we're off to the conference finals, of course, taking on the St. Louis Blues. I'm not scared of Edmonton, and I'm not scared of McDavid. So no way that running my mouth against the Edmonton Oilers actually worked for us. We were very good defensively, shutting Connor McDavid down, and now we've moved on to the conference finals to take on the St. Louis Blues. I don't think we stand a chance against the St. Louis Blues. They have Robert Thomas. Robert Thomas is basically the greatest player of all time. See, Robert Thomas is just leading the St. Louis Blues past the Vegas Golden Knights here, doing something that Connor McDavid couldn't. But you know what? I still believe we have a strong team here, and it looks like we're making a massive comeback. 9 goals in game number 5, 7 goals in game number 6, and we're off to game 7. Is St. Louis really about to blow a 3-1 series lead? This is the only time I would ever be okay with St. Louis blowing a 3-1 series lead. But even still, blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Vegas Golden Knights, not really happy with that. Now, if St. Louis wins here, should I celebrate? And if Vegas wins, should I be upset? Because obviously we want Vegas to win, but we also don't want St. Louis to lose. So we're going to be shutting them out in game number 7 here, completing the 3-1 series comeback, but I don't know how I should feel about this. St. Louis was 1 game away from making it to the Stanley Cup final, while we made a 3-1 series comeback, but that means St. Louis blew a 3-1 series lead. There's a lot of mixed emotions right now, but you can say what you want about this team. We made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's right, in 2025, the Vegas Golden Knights are going to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Stanley Cup final. That is a matchup indeed. Now, I would have been fine with losing to the St. Louis Blues, but we are not losing to the Pittsburgh Penguins of all teams. We scored 12 goals in game number 1. We won in game 3, but dropped game 2 and dropped game 4, but we really scored 12 goals in game number 1. This team knows how to score a lot of goals now, and I don't think any team's going to be able to stop us. We're picking up another 5 goals in game number 5, and in game 6, we're going to be winning a Stanley Cup. So we've got a Stanley Cup early in this rebuild, in year 2 to be exact. That's the first of many. Okay, so it's clear to see that Brock Boeser, DeBrincat were definitely the missing pieces. Even a guy like Dawson Mercer, 22 points here. Okay, this team knew how to score goals. Defensively, we were still a great team as well. Aiden Hill, 16 wins, 2 shots, a 916, a 267. But look at Logan Thompson, the future goaltender of this team. He was perfect in the 30 minutes he played, facing 11 shots. So right now, there's not really any great prospects in the draft late here. So I'm just going to be trading the picks over to the Anaheim Ducks. We're getting 2 third-rounders and a 4th. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, we have $11 million we can work with here. Dawson Mercer, how much are you going to be looking for? You know what? I think we can do a 2x2 here. Or do I just qualify you as an RFA and then trade you away because you didn't really have that great of a line fit? No, we're just going to sign you to a 2x2. Now that we've signed you here, we will trade you away because I need somebody on the third line who does have a better line fit. When it comes to Hag, I'll qualify him as an RFA and then we'll ship him out because I don't really want to give him $4 million. Well, Braden McNabb, we're just not going to be bringing you back here. Part of the reason I didn't want to re-sign Hag and I didn't want to re-sign Braden McNabb is I have to give out some big extensions here. The first one's going to Jack Eichel. We're going to be doing 9.5 for the next 8 years. And then when it comes to Leo Carlson, he's going to be the next extension we have to go out here, and we're doing 7.8 for the next 8. Those are 2 massive deals, but we got to make sure these 2 guys stay on the team. So as we know, Dawson Mercer does not have a good line fit on the third line. That's where he's been playing. Sean Monahan, you have a great fit here, but you know what? We can't afford to keep everyone on this team. And honestly, part of the reason I signed you is I know your overall improves and I know your trade value improves. That's really the main reason you're on this team. So I'm going to be trading you over to the Dallas Stars and we're getting Wyatt Johnson. Unfortunately, they're going to be saying no to this deal. Also, I keep saying Wyatt Johnson. I don't know why. Wyatt Johnston. That's who we're picking up here. I don't know why I have such a difficult time saying Wyatt Johnston, but I always call him Wyatt Johnson. So the Toronto Maple Leafs have 2 guys I'm trying to go after here. Pontus Holmberg. He's an 80 overall playmaker that can fit on the third line. That's where he's going to be playing. On top of that, Gregor's also available and he can be a decent bottom 6 guy for us. So Dawson Mercer and a 3rd round pick is going to be shipped over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We're also going to be trying to pick up this prospect right here. I might just take him out of the deal just for it to be a bit simpler. We're getting this deal done by taking that prospect out. Okay, so right now, Alex Pietrangelo, he's starting to regress. No surprise, 35 years old, but it's happening a bit quicker than I was expecting. And you know what else I'm surprised about? Our 1st round pick for 2027. This 1st round pick has a stupid amount of trade value. There's no reason it should be this high. So this package right here is going to be sent over to the Chicago Blackhawks, and we're picking up Kevin Korchinski. Nick Hague, I qualified you as an RFA and the plan was to trade you away, but if we can keep you for 1 year, $4.7 million, I'll definitely do that deal. And on top of that, Kevin Korchinski, we also have to keep you long term here. If we can get a really good deal with you done, yeah, I'm not even contemplating a deal like this. $5 million for the next 8 8 years. You're going to be a number one defenseman for us, and I'm paying you $5 million. No questions asked. Now, the only thing we have to do before heading into next season is sign a backup goaltender, and Samsonov, I'll definitely do 1.3 for the next 3 years for you to be our backup. You're an 83 overall. That's a great price. So we have a couple things we can celebrate here. Not only did this team just win a Stanley Cup, but we were also able to lock down a majority of this core. So basically everyone on this team right here is going to be coming back next season. The third line is going to be getting a nice boost here, +2 overall, because we got great line chemistry here. Everything's looking great on this team. Kevin Korchinski, a perfect line fit on the first pairing alongside Shea Theodore. He's going to develop nicely. And to cap it all off, Logan Thompson, you're still a great goaltender, 85 overall. Backing him up is going to be Samsonov, 1.3 for the next 3. What a price that was. This team's fantastic, and we're going to get fantastic results here. So right now the team's absolutely flying. We're sitting second in the entire league with a 42-19-4 record. The offense is looking pretty good here, and the defense absolutely spectacular. I guess it doesn't really matter who's in between the pipes for us. As long as they're a decent enough goaltender, they're going to see success here. When it comes to the scoring on this team, honestly, I'm a bit surprised. A guy like Brock Besser, 55 points. I can't complain about that, but only +1. Jack Eichel +5. Tomas Hertl +3. Why are these guys kind of struggling a little bit here? I was expecting the plus-minus numbers to be a lot better. However, on the second line, things are looking fantastic. But Jack Eichel, 75 points and only +5. We got to be better than that. Logan Thompson's been the guy for us this season, and he's showing out. 29 wins so far, 0 shots, a 914, 269s. These are definitely numbers we can win with. When it comes to making trades here, I'm not really too sure what we should do. The defense is looking really good, and unless you're on a 1-year deal, I don't really want to bring you on the team. Michael Matheson, are you going to be the answer for us? Probably not. I need somebody on a 1-year deal that can fit on the bottom defensive pairings, or someone on a 1-year deal that can play some bottom 6 minutes for us. Based on what's available here, I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to find that. Brandon Saad, though, that could be an interesting pickup. Never mind, Brandon Saad does not fit on any of our lines, so that would be absolutely pointless. So I found who we're going to be bringing to the team. It's going to be Kevin Hayes, $3.5 million for this season. That's actually not too bad of a price tag, and he fits on the bottom 6. He's got a couple X factors. The only thing I have to inquire about is I want to make sure this guy isn't on a multi-year deal. I want to make sure that Kevin Hayes didn't get an extension. No, he didn't, so we can bring him onto the team and then let him leave next offseason. I'm going to be sending them over a second rounder. This deal is getting accepted. We're going to get ready for the second half of this season, and we're going to be bringing home a Stanley Cup. So the acquisition of Kevin Hayes is actually going to work out very well for us because he has a great fit on the fourth line here, and he's going to allow these guys to get a +1 boost. So the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be having another incredible season here. We're third in the entire league, a 51-26-5 record. The offense is looking great, and so is that defense. With the way this team's looking, I don't think anyone can stop us. The offense is great, the goaltending is great, and our superstars are playing great here. Leo Carlson, 98 points, Jack Eichel, 91, DeBrink at 89. Even a guy like Brock Besser, I didn't expect him to do too much here, but 75 points, I'm definitely going to take it. Meanwhile, Logan Thompson, 37 wins, 2 shots, a 909 and 284. We're about to find out if you can step it up when it matters most. And you better be ready to step it up quick because the playoffs are beginning here and we got the Winnipeg Jets to take on first. And it looks like the team knows how to step it up when it matters most. The Winnipeg Jets are going to be no match for us, and we're going to be taking down a 5-game series. And the goaltending from Logan Thompson, pretty good so far. The first round's in the books here and it's time to move on. Our next matchup's going to be another tough one. We got the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are definitely putting up a bigger fight than the Winnipeg Jets did. We've been exchanging games the entire series so far. So if we continue to exchange games here, that means we're going to be taking game 5. That's exactly what's happening, but it's time to flip the script here. We're going to win game 6. I guess we're just going to keep on exchanging games, so that means we're going to win in Game 7. And as long as that trend continues, then we're going to be fine. We're going to win in Game 7 here, but we're going to have to spark some massive comeback because things aren't looking good. I think we're going to be winning this one. It keeps going back and forth. 4-4, and we're off to overtime. The next goal is going to be winning this game. Barbashev, the St. Louis Hero, is going to be winning this one, and we're off to the conference finals. If you're in Game 7 and you need somebody to score a big-time goal, you can always rely on somebody from the St. Louis Blues, no doubt about it. So in the conference finals, it looks like we're going to be taking on another Canadian team here, but there's one thing you got to know about the Edmonton Oilers. They were a wild card team. Somehow a team led by Connor McDavid's only finishing as the wild card. A bit of a surprise there, but you know what? You can never count that man out. But you know what? The Edmonton Oilers aren't the team they used to be, and we're dominating the series so far. If we can close this out in Game 5, we're going to be in the Stanley Cup final. That's exactly what's happening here. The team has all the momentum. We got the New York Rangers up next. New York's going to be a tough task for us. Maybe they're not because we're going to be winning the first 3 games of this series. Logan Thompson's been absolutely spectacular, and as long as we don't blow the 3-0 series lead, we're going to be taking this one home. Vegas is taking home back-to-back Stanley Cups here, and if you're counting the one before the simulation started, that's going to be 3 in the last 4 years. Now, when you're winning Stanley Cups, of course, the big-time players are making big-time plays, but I don't really want to talk about the offense of this team. I want to talk about the defense and what Logan Thompson was up to here. 16 wins, 1 shot, a 917 to 269. There was probably a couple people out there wondering why I didn't keep Adin Hill. Well, I believed in Logan Thompson. He's a couple years younger, and he's proving he can be that guy. We also got him on a cheaper contract. That's the other reason I kept him around. But you know what? That contract's going to age well for us. 4.5 for the next 4 years, because this season's up, that means 4 more Stanley Cups. And if we didn't have enough good news here, the entire team's going to be coming back next season, so we're just going to run it back. Now, we're not going to really talk too much about what happened in the draft here. Basically, we missed on all 3 draft picks. They were late round picks, so I wasn't expecting too much though. Now, there's a couple extensions I want to give out during the re-sign phase. Holmberg, you're a great piece on that third line. You have a great line fit, so here's 1.1 for the next 5. Korzak, I'm also going to do a multi-year deal with you. We're going to do 1.3 for the next 3 years. I've been giving you some second pairing minutes. You've sort of lived up to the hype there, but you haven't really developed as I was hoping. With the rest of the guys remaining here, we're going to be letting all these guys walk. I don't really want to give anyone a long-term deal here. Kevin Hayes, you did have a great fit on that fourth line, but at 34 years old, you're going to be declining and there's no point bringing you back. Now, of course, the first thing we have to do is lock some of these guys down long-term. We're going to be starting with Alex DeBrincat. He's going to be a pretty penny, but you know what? He's a great player for us. We're going to do $9.8 million for the next 8 years. We're going to keep him on the team long-term for the rest of his prime. Wyatt Johnson's another guy I want to lock down, but I'm not really sure if this price is going to be worth it. Actually, we can do 4 years at 4.9. It's a bit expensive for a third line guy, but you know what? He's got some great potential and he's living up to the hype so far. Now, we don't need to make too many changes to the team, but Matt Watt is going to be joining the team. 5.1 for 1 season. He's going to be a good right defenseman for us. So I guess we actually could bring Kevin Hayes back, because 2.3 for next season isn't necessarily the worst deal in the world. And then with a guy like Verana, 2.3 for next season is not the worst idea in the world. So we've won back-to-back Stanley Cups here. The entire core is coming back, and I think we're actually looking better this season. +5 boost on the first line, +5 on the second, +2 on the third line, then a +1 boost on the fourth line. This team's looking absolutely fantastic right now. The defense is even better. Kevin Korchinski, he's up to an 84 overall. Shea Theodore, he's going to be sitting at a 91 here. Matt Watt joined the team. He's going to provide some more defensive support, while in between the pipes, we still have 2 guys we can rely on. Logan Thompson, Samsonov. It's time to complete this three-peat. With the way this team was performing, it didn't make sense to shop at the trade deadline and ditch a bunch of pieces. We're first in the entire league with a 59-18-5 record. The offense is looking spectacular, but that defense even better. 2.57 allowed. We have a very good chance of completing this three-peat. And the biggest difference between this season and last season, the scoring on this team. Alex DeBrincat 106 points, Leo Carlson 100, Jack Eichel, he's got 94, but more importantly, look at that plus minus. These guys are now performing. The entire forward core is looking absolutely spectacular, and so is that goaltending. Logan Thompson, 47 wins, 4 shots, and 914 at 255. It's time to complete this three-peat. I can't see any team stopping us right now. We have the Nashville Predators in the first round. I believe Nashville was the bottom 3 team last season because they did have the 3rd overall pick, so I mean, that's some pretty good reasoning. I can't see us losing in the first round to a team that finished bottom 3 last year. Okay, I am very concerned in this team. We're currently down 2-1 in this series. We lost the first 2 games, but you know what? We're bouncing back, winning back-to-back games here. We're responding in game 5. Okay, we're going to be winning 4 straight games here to move on to the second round. After these first 2 games, I was very concerned. So after that little scare we faced in the first round, we're going to be moving on, and now we're going to have a matchup against the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver was able to take down Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, but in this universe, the Edmonton Oilers are complete frauds, so taking them out in the first round doesn't really mean anything. After losing the first 2 games in the first round, this team's been absolutely unstoppable. So far, we have a 3-1 series lead in the second round, and we're looking to close this series out with a 5-2 victory in game 5. We're moving on to the conference finals, and we've won 8 of our last 9 games. So we made it to the conference finals once again this video. We're going to be matching up against the Dallas Stars. The Vegas Golden Knights are looking really solid right now, and unless Dallas can pull off some sort of miracle here, I think we're Stanley Cup bound once again. So we've shut the Dallas Stars out in back-to-back games here. We scored 9 goals in this one, and then we scored 7 in this one. We've scored 16 goals in our past 2 games. Yeah, we're in the Stanley Cup final. We scored 9 goals once again. Like, we really scored 34 goals in a 5-game series. We were almost averaging 7 goals a game against the Dallas Stars. How did y'all make it this far? Now, this is going to be by far the toughest matchup we've had so far. We're taking on the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup final. We were a 59-win team. This team was a 56-win team. These are 2 of the best matching up against each other, and we're about to figure out who's truly the best team in the entire league. But obviously, we have a lot more on the line than the New York Rangers do. We're looking to complete a three-peat here, and ideally, we just sweep the Rangers. Are we actually sweeping them? Okay, we're not going to sweep the Rangers, but we're actually going to complete a three-peat here. 6 goals in game number 5. We've won 3 straight Stanley Cups. I have no clue how this team's been so successful so far, but let's complete a 4-peat next season. Let's just keep running it back with the same core. So we didn't have 1 player over a point a game. We didn't have 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 players. 6 players over a point a game, and if you want to include Shea Theodore, we had 7 players averaging a point a game, because he had 21 in 21 games. Yeah, this team is pretty good. Goaltending-wise, Logan Thompson, these might not be the best numbers in the world, but you had 3 big-time shutouts, you had 16 wins, and that's all that really matters. So the very improbable achievable three-peat has been completed. Now it's time for the impossible four-peat. Alright, so I'm actually cooking with a deal like this. We're picking up a future third round pick from the Boston Bruins. That pick's going to be huge for us. And then with these two picks right here, ideally we can get another future third round pick. We can get one from the Calgary Flames with me. Let's just take that Toronto one because that's what the Anaheim Ducks are offering. But I don't want to take on Adam Henrique's contract. We'll just get this third rounder from the Buffalo Sabres. And the reason I trade for those future third round picks is they actually fit the trade block here. So all of these picks are going to be sent over to the San Jose Sharks. We're picking up a defenseman who has high top four potential, and we're also getting the 111th overall. Unfortunately, they're going to say no to a deal like this, but I think a 7th rounder could be the difference. So here's a 2028 7th round pick shipped over to the San Jose Sharks. We're getting this deal done. Now we just have to hope that 111th overall pick turns into something. But you know what? I think there's a pretty good chance it does. Now the 111th overall did turn into something, a low elite potential player. However, this guy was a gem, so we're going to have to pay attention to him. He might be able to develop into a decent player, but then again, he is a 48 overall, so it's going to take a miracle for that to happen. So Matt Waugh, you played a great role in this team last season, and I would love to bring you back here. I'm going to do $4.5 million for next season. And then with a guy like Noah Gregor, we actually have to pay more than what he's asking for. We got to give him $2 million for next season. Basically, he's not happy with the amount of minutes he played, but you know what? You're a great fourth line player for us. And at $2 million, that's not the end of the world. With the rest of the players on this team, we're just going to be letting everyone walk. Now with this team completing a three-peat and having a chance at a four-peat here, I'm not making any changes. Noah Hanifin, we're riding out your contract. Barbashev, we're riding out your contract. Matt Waugh, I just gave you an extension, but we're keeping you on this team throughout the entire year. We're going to bring back the exact same team except for Kevin Hayes and Vrana. This team's won 3 Stanley Cups in a row. Why would I ever make any changes? Now we do have to pick a couple pickups for the bottom 6 here. In Dalibor Dvorsky, you could be a great guy for us. You have top 6 potential. You're still a really young player. That's going to be a real easy deal to get done. And then with our final move, we're going to be picking up Cal Yarcrow from the Tampa Bay Lightning. 81 overall, he's 35 years old, but you know what? If he can play on the 4th line, that's all I'm asking for here. Now Chandler Stevenson, not only have you lost your X factors, but you've also dropped to an 84 overall. You're 33 years old and you're not going to be getting any better here. But you know who could be getting better? Zachary Bolduc. I know for a fact this guy can fit on our 2nd line. 85 overall, 2-way forward. He's basically an upgrade from Chandler Stevenson. We're also going to get a 4th rounder in this deal. I'm going to send this package over. They're saying we're pretty close in value, so a 7th round will make the difference here. I don't even know if we have a 7th rounder. Yes, we do for 2029. This package is being shipped over. Zachary Bolduc, welcome to the team, and you're going to play some big top 6 minutes for us. Now the team's looking basically identical to last season. A +5 boost on the 1st line, a +4 on the 2nd though, because Zachary Bolduc doesn't have a perfect fit here, but it's still a pretty good one. The bottom 6 had a couple changes. Dalibor Dvorsky, he's joined the team. Cal Yarcrow's also going to be joining. They're going to be holding it down the 4th line, getting a +1 boost. Meanwhile, the defense still looking absolutely spectacular here, and you already know the goaltending is going to be looking great. Logan Thompson's up to an 86. We really have a chance at completing a 4-peat here. We haven't just won 3 Stanley Cups, but we've won 3 Stanley Cups in a row, and we're looking to make that 4 right here. Like the fact that this team has been as successful as they have been actually makes no sense, but you know what? I'm never going to complain about team success, and I'm never going to complain about Stanley Cup wins. Alright, so we're a borderline 50 win team at the trade deadline, 49, 14, and 1. The offense is above 4 goals per game, while the defense is below 2.5. So based on those numbers right there, I don't think we're making any changes to this team. Leo Carlsson, you got 88 points so far, Jack Eichel 79, DeBrincat 78, Brock Besser 76, Zachary Bolduc in his first season with the team, he's got 50 points, and probably wouldn't hurt if I gave him an extension, seeing as I want him on the team long term. Logan Thompson, just keep doing you. So as I just said, we're not making any changes here. This team's won 3 Stanley Cups in a row, and we're about to win 4. The one thing we will do though, Zachary Bolduc, I gotta give you an extension. So let's get this Zachary Bolduc extension done right now. We're looking at 5.8 for the next 8 years. Not only is this deal going to help us out in the long term, but he's going to keep on getting better here. He's probably going to get up to an 88 overall, and paying an 88 overall 5.8 million, it's hard to find a better deal than that. Another guy having a fantastic season so far is Dalibor Dvorsky, and I wouldn't mind keeping him long term. Here's 1.7 for the next 8. So with another season complete, it's another season of Vegas finishing at the top of the league with a 59, 20, and 3 record. We already know what this team does: score goals and not allow any. And through saying that, Leo Carlsson, what a fantastic pickup that was. 112 points here. Jack Eichel's got 100. DeBrincat 99. Brock Besser 96. Zachary Bolduc 69. The offense on this team is really spectacular. And with Logan Thompson in between the pipes, I can't see any team beating us. So I have nothing to say other than we're looking to complete a 4-peat here. Never thought I would say those words, but here we are. Let's go ahead and do that. So the first round is going to be a nice warm-up against the Minnesota Wild. We're taking them down a 6-game series because we're going to be dropping game 5 4-2. Ideally, we don't blow a 3-1 series lead here. We're off to game 7. Okay. So for a bit of context heading into this matchup right here, we won 19 more games than the Minnesota Wild did in the regular season. So we're taking them down 6-4 in game 7. The fact that we went to game 7 though concerns me a little bit. Round number 1 was definitely the adversity we had to go through. I think we got a bit too comfortable in the regular season. Minnesota put up a great fight against us, and now we know how we're going to be taking on the Edmonton Oilers here in the second round. Connor McDavid and those boys haven't been able to compete with us up until this point, so why would anything change now? Complete and utter frauds. Edmonton's down in a 4-game series. We're off to the conference finals. So we've reached the conference finals for the 4th year in a row, and now we have to take on the Dallas Stars once again here. Dallas is a much better team than they were last season, but I think you can make the argument that we're an even better team. We're locked in right now, winning 5 straight games. Dallas better be prepared for a tough matchup. So it looks like the Dallas Stars series is going to be our toughest one yet. We're winning the first 2 games, so we're going to be dropping the next 2 after that. Who's going to be winning game 5? Are we really going to lose 4 straight games here? And that's the reason we're not completing a 4-peat. We got to show up in game number 6 here. That's exactly what's happening. Game 7, winners off to the Stanley Cup final. Vegas still has a chance at a 4-peat. It's still alive. Now we have a ton of amazing talent on this team, and I need it to step up right here. In the first period, there's going to be no goals scored. In the second, we're going to be exchanging them. Whoever wins the third period is going to be winning this game, and it looks like it's going to be the Dallas Stars. Samuel Girard's going to be picking up a power play goal. The dream of a 4-peat's dead here, and we're out in the conference finals in game 7. That's just a heartbreaking loss right there. But you know what? I can't really be too mad. We won 3 Stanley Cups in a row, but that elusive 4-peat, it was on my mind. Now Dallas, if you're going to beat us in the conference finals, you have to win the Stanley Cup. You can't be losing to the Islanders. You just beat a team that won 3 straight Stanley Cups, and then you proceed to lose in the Stanley Cup final. You guys are just an absolute disgrace. Now the biggest difference between this playoff run and our previous 2 is the plus minuses on this team were not looking good. Clearly we were not producing offensively, but we also weren't really producing defensively here. Logan Thompson though, I mean, these numbers aren't the worst in the world. 11 wins, 1 shot, a 916, a 256. We just weren't scoring goals when it mattered most. This team is built around scoring a ton of goals, but just look at these point totals right here. We clearly weren't doing that. But you know what? We're going to be bringing back the entire core next season. We're going to be making another run for a Stanley Cup. We're going to be competing for Stanley Cups every single year. We just can't win them all. The draft hasn't been that great to us so far, so I'm just going to be picking up a future 3rd round pick from the Anaheim Ducks. However, in saying that, we did get one decent prospect. He was selected in the 1st round, 32nd overall. He's got medium top 6 potential. Williams is still really young though, 18 years old. He's going to have tons of time to develop. I think he could be a pretty crucial part to our team in the future. So after that loss in the conference finals, we're going to be losing a couple pieces here just because I don't want to bring him back. Barbashev, he wants like $6 million. Same with Noah Hanifin. Matt Waugh, how much are you looking for? If we can do a reasonable deal, that is not reasonable for an 82 overall. Gregor, I would like to bring you back because you're a great piece on the 4th line. I can definitely do 1.7 for the next 3 years. No question about it. Cal Yarkrow, you're 36 years old. You're going to be aging out too quick here. Samsonov, you're definitely not going to be coming back because you're probably going to want $3 million. 1.6 is not bad though. I can do 1.6 for the next 2 years for you to be our backup. And then when it comes to some of the rookies down here and some of these RFAs, we're just going to sign them to 2-way contracts. Okay, I literally gave Gregor exactly what he wanted and he still said no. So here's 1.8 million for next season. That better be enough for him. I don't know why he didn't accept that first deal considering I gave him exactly what he wanted. Meanwhile, Samsonov also said no, but we're actually not going to worry too much about bringing him back. So here's what I'm thinking. Tomas Hertl, you're a great player and all. I got nothing against you. However, you are 34 years old and you're going to start declining. And on top of you declining, that means your trade value is going to go down. I can ship you out along with the 1st round pick over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We can get Dimitrikos here. He's an 83 overall that was selected 4th overall in the 2027 draft. He would be a great player for this team. So that's who we're going to be acquiring in a deal like this. Now we're going to try to pick up a couple guys here in free agency. The first is going to be Rasmussen. We're doing 2 years at 2.7 million. A deal like this is going to be a bit of a risk, but if we can get Alex Newhook 2 years at 1.7, that would be a great deal as long as he can fit on the bottom 6. Another guy we're going to be acquiring is slowly turned into a stick on the ice legend, Connor McMichael, 2 years at 1.95 million. So we are going to do one big time deal here. That's going to be Victor Hedman. I'm going to give him 10.1 for next season. He'd be a massive upgrade to our defensive core. He is 37 years old. He is going to decline a little bit, but he's still a 92 overall. He's still got X factors. He's going to be a nice addition to this team for sure. Now we need a backup goaltender for the next couple years, and Wall, you can be the guy at 1.2 million for the next 3. Now Muggley's finally going to be jumping into the lineup here, and you know what? He's an 80 overall that can fit on the second pairing, so I want to make sure we keep him around long term here. It's going to be 2.2 for the next 8. Now the team's looking great once again this season. Jack Eichel, Brock Besser, who now is a superstar X factor alongside Dimitrikos. Now he doesn't have the greatest line fit whatsoever here, but you know what? Allow him to develop. He's going to gain some X factors, and then we'll be getting a +5 boost on that first line. With the second line, we're getting a +5 boost, even though Zachary Bolduc has a poor line fit. He's an 88 overall now. He's got a couple X factors, while the bottom 6, it's still in a great position. The defense is going to be even better. We added Victor Hedman to the team. He's a 90 overall. Even if he drops 5 overalls and he's down to an 85 overall by the beginning of the playoffs, we're still going to be in a great position. While the goaltending, Logan Thompson, continue to do what you do. You've won us 2 Stanley Cups, you can get us a 3rd. Although Dimitrikos was a bit of a step back from Tomas Hertl, we're still looking great here, 2nd in the entire league with a 44-15-4 record. But we got to watch out for these New Jersey Devils because they're playing some elite hockey right now. Look at that defense for them, 2.75. We got to improve our defense if we want to be competing with the Devils. Because offensively, I have absolutely no issues with this team right here. We're rolling, we're picking up a lot of points, and I already knew that's what this team was going to be doing. Goaltending wise, Logan Thompson, 32 wins, 4 shouts, and 895 and a 312. Yeah, this ain't it. You got to be better than that, and we got to improve this defense. Probably going to try to pick up a defensive defenseman here if there's any available, because our defense is definitely the lone weak spot on this team. Our forward core is impeccable, but the defense could use a bit of work. Sean Durzi, are you going to be that guy we pick up? I know you're not a defensive defenseman, but you would help this team a lot. So I think this is going to be the deal for Sean Durzi. Ideally, they accept this. Okay, I was not expecting them to. I really didn't think they would, even though we were offering more trade value, because sometimes guys like Sean Durzi, they want you to overpay by almost double. But you know what? I'll definitely take that deal. Sean Durzi, welcome to the team. Now, this is what our defensive core is going to be looking like. Korchinski, Shea Theodore, Sean Durzi, Victor Hedman. We should be able to compete with the best in the league once the postseason comes around. The acquisition of Sean Durzi was amazing for this team. 1st in the entire league, another 58 win season here, but look at that defense, 2.9 goals allowed. We're competing with the New Jersey Devils. At the trade deadline, this team was miles ahead of us defensively, but now we're right there with them. And on top of this team being great defensively, you already know the offense is going to be fantastic. DeBrincat 105, Leo Carlson 105, Jack Eichel 99, Brock Besser 91. We're scoring a lot of points here. Even a guy like Zachary Bolduc's over a point a game. He's got 85 points. Victor Hedman, that was a great pickup for us. He's looking fantastic. But what's his overall now? He's dropped to an 85 overall, and he's lost all of his X factors. Not really ideal. But Logan Thompson, I need you to perform a bit better because these numbers right here aren't going to win us a Stanley Cup. However, I know you can step it up when it matters most. I've seen you do it plenty of times before, so now it's time for you to do it again here. We got the Seattle Kraken in the 1st round. Let's get to work. Now, the Seattle Kraken can't even compete with us because Logan Thompson's been playing some amazing defense so far. Now, as long as we don't choke a 3-0 series lead, we're going to be moving on to the 2nd round. Okay, we're off to Game 7. Great work, team. So we blew a 3-0 series lead. We lost 6-3 in Game 7. We won the first 3 games of this series, then proceeded to lose 4 after that. This was one of the worst collapses I've ever seen in my life. We were playing so good here. A 3-1 victory, a 1-0 victory, a 5-2 victory. The defense was incredible. And then I don't know what happened in these next 4 games. Something changed and this team was just not elite. Like, I'm not putting any of the blame on Logan Thompson because those first 3 games, he was elite. He was a fantastic goaltender. These numbers right here do not reflect how good he was. I don't know what happened after Game 3, but something happened to this team and we just absolutely collapsed. The scoring, it wasn't good. I mean, we didn't score basically after game number 3. The entire core is going to be coming back here except for Victor Hedman. And you know what? I still believe in it. We got a ton of great players here. Dimitrikos, he's going to be picking up some X factors. He's already up to an 86 overall. He can definitely be a number 1 line player for us in the future. Okay, so although the Seattle Kraken were a wildcard team and made a 3-0 series comeback against us, they were actually pretty good, making it all the way to the Stanley Cup final to take on the New Jersey Devils, and they would lose in a 7-game series. So Seattle was legit, the New Jersey Devils were legit. I guess we're just frauds. Now, if we want to rebuild this team properly and get back to competing for Stanley Cups, it's got to start in the draft here, and we're going to be getting a lowly potential grinder. More than likely, this guy's going to be used as a trade asset, because I can't see a mediumly potential grinder being a useful player for us in the future, if I'm being honest. As normal, late in the draft, we're not guaranteed any great prospects, so we're just going to pick up some future picks here, and we're going to be getting a future 3rd from the Boston Bruins. So we have $17 million in cap space, and Sean Durzi, you want $6.1 million for the next 5 years. I don't really want to commit 5 years to a 30-year-old, but how about we do 1 year at $6.1 million? We keep you on the team for 1 more season here, and then you can walk away next offseason. Meanwhile, this lowly potential's had some fantastic development, and we're going to sign him to his rookie deal here, and he's already an 80 overall, so he'll jump into the lineup next season. Korzak, I'm going to be letting you walk here, and then I'll sign these 2 guys right here. Alright, so I'm really surprised, but Joseph Woll actually has more trade value than Logan Thompson. He's still an 82 overall, like nothing's changed with Woll, but I'm going to trade him over along with a 4th round pick to the Buffalo Sabres. We're going to be picking up this young, mediumly potential goaltender. The plan is he's going to be the backup for this season, and then next year we're going to sign him to a long-term deal, and he'll be the starter for us in the future. So we have $12 million to work with. Our top 6 is set. We really don't have to do too much here, but Jake Neighbors will give you $5.9 million for next season. You can be a good bottom 6 player for us. Outside of that lone Jake Neighbors signing, we're just going to run it back with the exact same team. I believe in the core here. We finished first in the entire league. We just choked in the playoffs, plain and simple. We're still a good team. There's no looking past that. Now, Wyatt Johnston, you've been a great player for us, no question about it. You've played some big third line minutes. You're an 83 overall. However, 4.9 million is just a bit expensive for an 83 overall. So the plan is to ship you over to the Minnesota Wild. We're picking up Muller here. He's an 80 overall and he's a sniper. He can play some bottom 6 minutes for us and he's going to be a lot cheaper. Could have we gotten a 3rd round pick on top of Muller? Absolutely. But you know what? We got the guy we want and we got the guy we need. And this is the price that we're going to be paying for Muller. What a great deal. 2.4 for the next 8 years. So he's going to do the exact same thing as Wyatt Johnston for $3 million less. And we're going to have him for an additional 7 seasons. So we're well aware of what this team can do, and we're well aware of the potential here. A +3 boost on the first line, +5 on the second. The bottom 6 is looking fantastic. A +2 boost here, a +1 boost here. We got a bunch of great players here, and I already know they're going to perform when it matters most. When it comes to the defense, Kevin Korchinski, you're back up to that first pairing alongside Shea Theodore. Sean Durzi, you're going to be holding it down with the 81 overall rookie who's jumping into the lineup this season. He's going to be playing some big second pairing minutes. You know what? I have very high expectations for a guy like this. When I drafted him, I wasn't expecting too much, but you know what? He's lived up to the hype and he's going to turn into an elite potential player for us. Meanwhile, the goaltending, who would have thought, but it looks like Burnett's going to be the starter for us. He's up to an 85 overall. Logan Thompson's going to be the backup. We have a really cheap goaltending 10 right here, and you know what's even better? The young guy's going to keep on getting better, and then we're going to be locking him down long term next season. We're probably going to have to give this guy quite the bag, probably $7 million per year, but you know what? If we can get him long term at a great price, then it's going to work out for this team, and we'll be able to bring home another dozen Stanley Cups. So like usual, you already know the Vegas Golden Knights are going to finesse themselves to first in the entire league. A 42-10-9 record. The offense looking great like usual, but the defense even better this season. I think we might be a top 3 defensive team this season. We're actually second in the entire league, and we have the best offense. So right now, no team can compete with us. But we do have a new face leading the way this time around. That's going to be Brock Besser. He's got 83 points right now. Alex DeBrink at second, 82. Jack Eichel, he's going to have 80 as well. We have a handful of guys over a point a game. While Burnett's putting up some incredible numbers right now. 27 wins, 4 shots on 917 to 253. There's no doubt about it anymore. He's the future goaltender for this team. Now, our team's really good right now. We don't have to make a ton of changes, but I am going to make one change here. We're going to be picking up Kirby Dach to play on the third line. Him alongside Muller and Dalibor Dvorsky. That would be a nice addition. He's got a great fit there. The only thing we're missing is an elite playmaker for the bottom 6, and that's what he's going to bring to the team. So Alex Newhook, a first and second round, is going to be sent over to the Montreal Canadiens, and we're bringing in Kirby Dach for this season. So after the trade deadline, this team actually slowed up a bit. We're still first in the entire league, but I am a bit concerned here. Like Kirby Dach, I'm very curious to see what you did since joining the team, because after you joined, this team completely fell apart. We see the numbers here. The team's looking absolutely fantastic, but Kirby Dach, what are yours looking like? 9 points in 21 games, and you are -12. I'm 100% serious when I say this. You might be sent to the bench. We might make you a healthy scratch, because that's unacceptable. -12. Because what was Pontus Holmberg? He was +12. This man was +12 in the 61 games he played, and then once we brought Kirby Dach here, everything fell apart. So Pontus Holmberg, I'm bringing you back onto the team. You're not going to be a healthy scratch. Kirby Dach, you're not playing any postseason games for us. We brought you on this team and you had one job and you did not live up to the hype here. I mean, you don't have the greatest line fit in the world, but you are an 87 overall. I thought that would make up for the line fit. So Pontus Holmberg, welcome to the team. It's going to be you, Dalibor Dvorsky, and Muller holding it down that third line for the rest of the season. Now, all we have to do is pray that this team can bounce back from that disappointing finish. We're going to be taking on the St. Louis Blues in the first round. You already know it's going to be a tough matchup. The St. Louis Blues don't mess around. Okay, I'm getting flashbacks from last season. We have a 3-0 lead to start the postseason, then we drop game 4. We're not dropping 2 games in a row. Thankfully, this team's actually going to close it out this season. We're winning 5-1 in game 5. And if you're able to beat the St. Louis Blues, then you can beat anyone because they're by far the best team in the entire league. Their record just didn't show it. If you're curious on what their record was, I think they won 37 games. So yeah, there is that. We have the Edmonton Oilers up next. Of course, Connor McDavid's still on that team. But as we know, they're a bunch of frauds, and we're going to take them out in a quick sweep here. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't a sweep over the Edmonton Oilers, but it will be a quick 5-game series as we're taking them down in game 5. So we moved on to the conference finals here, and we have the Chicago Blackhawks to take on. We went from Connor McDavid to Connor Bedard. 2 great Connors, but you know what? They're not better than the Vegas Golden Knights, that's for sure. So it looks like Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks are putting up a bigger fight than the Edmonton Oilers did. We've split the series so far, and a game number 5 loss is going to make that 3 straight losses for us. We're not going to make it 4 straight losses, though. That's not what the Vegas Golden Knights do. Okay, never mind. We lost 4 straight games. We won the first two and only allowed 1 goal in those first 2 games, and then the team fell apart. Why does it seem like this team always shows up early on in this series? Like we win game 1 6-0, we win game 2 4-1, and then the next 4 games after that, this team just completely collapses. If we lose more than 2 games in a row, we're definitely not winning this series. We can't mount a comeback like that. Okay, so this guy right here is not supposed to be a highly potential goaltender. He had very inaccurate scouting done on him, but for some reason I still selected him and he still turned out to be a highly potential goaltender. So what a steal that was in the 3rd round. Now that goaltender is not going to be the only elite potential player we're bringing in here, because in the 158th overall we're getting a low elite potential left winger. And like usual, late in the draft here, we're just going to be trading some of these picks away and we're getting a future 3rd round pick from the Boston Bruins. So everyone on this team is going to be walking in free agency. No one's coming back. Sean Durzee's leaving, Kirby Dach's leaving, Connor McMichael, Jake Neighbors, and that's going to include Logan Thompson. Thank you for a bunch of fantastic years. Thank you for winning us a couple Stanley Cups, but we're moving on. Now this is quite the extension we have to give Burnett here, and obviously I want to lock him down as long as possible, but I do not want to do 8 years at $11 million. That's just absurd. He wants 5 years. That's probably all we're going to give him here, but even 5 years at 9.5 seems like way too much. So we might ride out his contract for this season and then just bring in a cheaper replacement next year, because I think we can get like an 85 overall for like $5 million. I'd rather have an 85 overall for $5 million than an 87 overall for $9 million. That 2 overall jump's not worth an extra $4 million. Now it looks like this season we're going to have a couple guys that are going to need some deals. Brock Besser is one of them, and I can guarantee this man's going to want to bag $11 million. Do I want to commit $11 million to somebody who's going to be turning 34? Definitely not. Meanwhile, Dmitry Kos, we probably could get an 8-year extension done with you, but you know what? I want to see what's out here on the trade market first, because ideally if we can get somebody who has a better line fit and has a few X factors, that would be the best situation for this team. Alright, so I think this is probably going to be the trade we do. Dmitry Kos, I know you're a great player and I had plans for you on this team in the future, but Joe Iginla, medium elite potential, he's already an 87 overall with a ton of X factors. He could be Brock Besser's replacement, because we're also going to be trading Brock Besser here. So can we just do this 1-for-1? I highly doubt it. We're definitely going to have to include something else in this deal, probably a couple picks to make it fair. So here's a 2nd rounder for 2032, and I think that might be enough to get this done. Unfortunately, they're still going to be saying no, but how about if we add that Boston Bruins 3rd round pick? That'll be enough to get this done. So Dmitry Kos and a 1st round pick are going to be sent over to the Detroit Red Wings, and we're going to pick up Joe Iginla. Surprisingly, that's still not going to be enough, but I think the difference maker might be that Boston Bruins 3rd round pick we acquired, so I'm going to send that over in this package as well, and we're going to be picking up Joe Iginla. So Brock Besser, right now you're 33 years old, you're not getting any younger, and your numbers are going to start dropping off in the next couple of years. You also just had a career season, so it makes sense to trade you now. You, along with a 2nd rounder, is going to be shipped over to the Ottawa Senators, and this is a risky deal for Tom Keeping. He's an 82 overall power forward, however, we don't have any scouting done on him. I don't know which lines he can fit on. Ideally, a guy like Tom Keeping could be our number 1 left winger, but I'm not really sure if that's going to be the case here. A 4th rounder is going to be enough to be the difference here, and we're getting this deal done. We almost have $40 million in cap space for this season, so we're going to make a couple signings. Now the changes are going to keep on coming to the team, and it looks like Shea Theodore is going to be the next guy to get traded. He's 34 years old, and his trade value is going to be even lower next season, so we got to get rid of him while his trade value is at his highest. Burmistrov, you're a good young defenseman, 84 overall at 20 years old. Ideally, we can lock you down to an 8-year deal next season. I'm going to try to go 1-for-1 here. Obviously, that's not going to happen, but of course, we have draft picks we can work with, and we have a few prospects. So I'm including one of our forward prospects along with a 3rd round pick, and I'm going to send this over to the Nashville Predators, and we're going to get this deal done. After everything that's happened, Sean Durzi, you are coming back to this team. I'm giving you 7.1 for 1 season. That's not going to be the only deal we do here, because we do have $41 million in cap space. We're going to bring in some superstar players on 1-year deals. Maybe not superstar players, because I mean our top 6 is set here, but we are going to make some upgrades, that's for sure. Caden Gooley, I guess I could bring you in on a 1-year deal as well. We'll do $8.5 million for this season. Zutterland, you can play some bottom 6 minutes for us, so here's $6 million. Now we do need a backup for this upcoming season, and Qualp, I'll do 1.3 for the next 3. Shout out to Nikita Qualp, an absolute legend. Now we still have like $20 million in cap space, so obviously a deal like this doesn't really make much sense, but why not bring Tage Thompson to the team? Here's $12.5 million for next season. The reason I'm only signing players to 1-year deals is we do have like 3 guys that are still on their rookie deals, and then once their rookie deal's up, we got to give them some big extensions. So I don't want to lock a guy like Tage Thompson down long term when he's 32 years old, and he's not a part of the plans for the future with this team. So we had an unfortunate exit last season, but you know what? This team's ready to bounce back, and the core is looking pretty solid here. Unfortunately, Keeping doesn't have the greatest fit here, but if he can play with the big time players, then we'll keep him on this team. If he doesn't perform up to expectations, then I'm not afraid to get rid of him. The bottom 6 is looking absolutely incredible here. Like, we have have a 92 overall Tage Thompson on our third line, so I think it's safe to say we're in a pretty good spot. Defensively, we got a great young core here. A lot of the guys can continue to develop. Sean Durzi, welcome back to the team for another season. You might be coming back next season, who knows? We signed you to a lot of one-year deals, and that might be happening again soon. Meanwhile, the goaltending is the biggest question mark, as we're not sure if Burnett's going to be returning to the team next season. I would like to lock him down to an 8-year deal, but he does want to be reasonable right now. I don't want to give him $9 million, so we're just going to see what happens this season and make adjustments accordingly. Now, Burnett has smartened up a little bit here, and if we can do a deal like this, then I would have no issue with bringing him back. $8.5 million for the next 7 years. Best case scenario, he continues to progress into a 90 overall, but he's looking at him right now, 22 years old and already an 88. The sky's the limit for a goaltender like him. Okay, so normally I would be very happy with a record of 59, 15, and 8, because that would normally mean we're first in the entire league. Normally, we would be first in the entire league. We're second behind the New Jersey Devils, who won 60 games. The Devils outplayed us this season. How is that possible? A 59, 15, and 8 record, and we still weren't first in the entire league. Ain't no way. We had a 92 overall Tage Thompson on our third line, and we still didn't finish first in the entire league. Keeping, you had a decent season here. I mean, 56 points isn't too bad. Joe Iginla, 63 points. I am expecting a bit more from you, I'm not going to lie. Kevin Korchinski, though, got to highlight that season from him. 86 points in 82 games. He was definitely that guy for us. Meanwhile, Burnett, keep doing your thing. 44 wins here, 2 shouts, and 910 to 266. As long as this success continues into the postseason, I got no problems. And speaking of the postseason, it's time for that to get underway here, and we got the Dallas Stars in the first round. But the Dallas Stars are a lot more competitive than I was expecting. We split the series so far, so Game 5 is going to be a big one. Who's going to be taking the lead in the series? Of course, it's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're looking to close this out in 6 games. Unfortunately, we're going to be dropping that one in overtime, so that means we need Game 7. I do want to emphasize heading into this matchup, we won 20 more games than the Dallas Stars did during the regular season, and it looks like we're finally going to be showing up here. We have a 3-1 lead entering the third period, and we're going to be closing this one out, a big 5-2 victory, as it should be. We really should beat the Dallas Stars. We won 20 more games than them. We are the superior team, no questions about it. Now, that match was a lot closer than it should have been, but hopefully that's a wake-up call for this team. We have the Anaheim Ducks in the second round. It's time for us to make a statement. I'm happy to say the Vegas Golden Knights have woken up here. We have a 3-1 series lead against the Anaheim Ducks, and a big 5-goal game is going to be closing it out in Game 5. So we've reached some familiar territory for the Vegas Golden Knights, but one thing this team isn't familiar with, losing at the conference finals. It's only happened once before, and I'm hoping it never happens again. Now, that was a lot easier than I expected. We're in the Stanley Cup final after sweeping the Avs. So we've reached the Stanley Cup final. This team knows how to perform when it matters most. We have the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers really can't compete with us. Let's be completely honest with ourselves, but I take that back. They did beat the New Jersey Devils. Okay, Philly is no joke. I take back every bad thing I just said about the Flyers. We better be prepared for a tough matchup. Now, I'm taking all the blame if we lose in the Stanley Cup final to the Philadelphia Flyers. We lost Game 1. Okay, what is this team doing so far? Did we win Game 3? That's the big one. Yes, we did. So we have a 3-1 series lead here, and we're going to close out in Game 5, defeating the Philadelphia Flyers, a team that beat the New Jersey Devils. We are truly the best in the NHL. That's going to make it 4 Stanley Cups on the video so far. Now, the big time players made some big time plays, and I'm happy to see that. Jack Eichel, 25 points, DeBrincat, 24, Tage Thompson, 24, a big time third line performer. Who would have expected that to happen? Tage Thompson on our third line, never in a million years would have I seen that. Leo Carlsson, 21 points, Zachary Bolduc, 21. The team was performing, and so was Burnett here. 16 wins, 1 shot, a 910 to 268. We won a Stanley Cup with Adin Hill. We won a Stanley Cup with Logan Thompson. We won a Stanley Cup with Burnett. No matter who the goaltender is, we find ways to win. Okay, now this might seem like a very stupid deal, but it makes sense in my head, so that means it's a good deal. We're picking up this 79 overall from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was just drafted, 18 years old. He's got top 6 potential, and he's got some X factors. We're going to acquire him for all these draft picks right here. Now, we still have all these draft picks right here. Now I'm going to send them over to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and ideally I can get some of our picks back. So hypothetically, could I give you a 5th, 6th, and 7th rounder for a 3rd and 4th rounder for next season? All right, we got a couple of our picks back. Stick on the ice is always thinking over here. All right, so we have $36 million in cap space, and I want to see if I can bring a couple of these guys back on 1-year deals. Tage Thompson, we're going to try with you. Can we get you for less than $9.8 million? I'm going to try 9.5 for next season. And then Sean Durzi, we're going to try another 1-year deal with you. Here's $6.5 million. Caden Gooley, you're actually going to be the lone guy I don't bring back here because we have a bunch of replacements. Holmberg, you're up to an 83 overall. You want $4.2 million. How about I give you $3.9 million for next season? I can't believe you're asking for more than $2 million. That's actually a bit wild. Then again, you are up to an 83 overall, so you have exceeded your potential. And to cap it all off, we're going to finish with Gregor here. I'll give him 2 years at $1.8 million. That's a good enough deal for him. Now, out of all the players I gave deals to, Gregor is the only one saying no here. I'm giving you one last chance. $1.9 million. If you say no to this, you're never playing another minute for this team, but you're making the smart decision and you're coming back. Now, the reason we've been doing a lot of one-year deals is because of guys like Joe Iginla. Eventually, we have to lock him down, and that's what we're doing here. It's going to be $8.9 million for the next 8 years. And then keeping, I'm very concerned about an extension like this. I want to do 8 years with you, but at 11.4 million, I'm not sure if that's the move. You don't necessarily have the greatest line fit here, so I don't know what you're going to really be doing with the team. We might keep you on for this season. Then again, what'd you do last season with the team? You were only like an 83 overall and you had 56 points. We're going to lock you down long term here. Let's not mess around. So we're just going to do $10 million for the next 8 seasons with keeping. Keep it pretty simple. Keeping it simple with keeping. That's what we're doing out here. And then Vermeerschrov, this is way cheaper than I thought it would be. $7.5 million for the next 8. And we're not done with the extensions yet because Junila, we're going to be keeping you long term as well. You're getting an 8-year deal. That one's going to be at $4.3 million. But now that I've given that extension out, I'm actually not too sure if I want to do it because I think this high top 4 potential defenseman might be a bit better in the future. So I want to give him a long-term deal as well. And then Junila, I'm actually going to be trading you away. I don't know why I gave you that extension. It was pretty pointless. But 5.7 is going to be going to this defenseman right here. And Junila, we're going to be shipping you out. So Jack Eichel, you just won another Stanley Cup with us. But unfortunately, I think time's running out for you as well. You're 34 years old. You're 92 overall. The decline's going to be coming pretty quick for you. And with a guy like Gavin McKenna, he could be the future of this team. 23 years old. Ideally, we can lock him down to a long-term deal. Right now, he's getting paid a bit too much. $11 million from McKenna, not really worth it. However, if we can eventually sign him to like an 8-year deal at $10 million, then it might be worth it. I'm also going to try to pick up 2 first-round picks in this deal. I don't think we're going to be getting 2 first-rounders. We're probably only going to get 1 here. But even if we can just get 1, I'm going to be fine with a deal like this. And then I think the plan with Alex DeBrincat is we're going to bring him back for 1 more season, and then next year we're going to trade him away. Now we're going to make 1 signing in free agency. We're picking up an older player here. That's going to be Timo Meier, $7 million for this upcoming season. As long as he doesn't have a massive decline, he's going to be a good pickup for us. Yeah, so I just remembered we have to trade this defenseman away. He's off to the Boston Bruins for 2 5th-round picks. The only reason I'm trading him is because next season we're going to be paying him $4.8 million to be a third-pairing defenseman for us. I'm not really a fan of that. So we know what's on the line for this season. Another Stanley Cup and a chance at a repeat. Gavin McKenna, you don't have the greatest line fit here. Keeping, you don't have the greatest line fit, but we have an 88 overall, a 90 overall, and an 88 overall. Then on our second line, an 88, an 89, a 91. Even if the line fits aren't the best here, we got some big-time players. They can make big-time plays. The forward core is impeccable. The defensive core here is absolutely fantastic. And to cap it all off, we have a fantastic goaltender. Walker Burnett, you're the future of this team. We're going to have you locked down for your entire prime. I can't wait to see what this dynasty can do, because right now we are a dynasty. So for a bit of context on how good this team is this season, we've already clinched a playoff spot and we have 10 more wins than the next closest team, being the Colorado Avalanche. Last time we saw Colorado in the playoffs, we swept them. So yeah, we're not making any changes to this team. We're perfect. I mean, we're not perfect. We have lost 14 games this season, but Gavin McKenna, he turned out to be a great pickup for us. 78 points. Tage Thompson, 73 on the third line. Zachary Bolduc. Everything about this team is fantastic right now. We're not screwing anything up here. Burnett's goaltending numbers, absolutely fantastic. 38 wins, 2 shots, a 902 and a 281. I don't really want to give up a ton of assets here, so I think we're just going to rock with the team we have. Now, the dominance continues for the Vegas Golden Knights, a 63-win season, 4.5 goals per game, 2.77 allowed. I don't really need to say how good this team is. We all understand how good we are. Gavin McKenna, 99 points. Leo Carlsson, 94. Look at all the guys above 90 points here. Look at all the guys who have more than 50 points. Even Pontus Holmberg, a guy I never expected to do too much on this team. He's picking up 52 points. This team can just do absolutely everything. Burnett, 49 wins, 3 shutouts, a 904 and a 273. But hold on, I got to go back to Pontus Holmberg's numbers. Who would have thought that this legend right here would be picking up 52 points? Let's just take a look at his career numbers. Last season he had 55. Okay, I did not realize he had 55 points last season, but up until these 2 seasons here, he was like a 30-point player for us. But man, has he been taken over the last couple seasons, and this team's ready to take home another Stanley Cup. Nothing can stop us right now. The Dallas Stars, y'all better be ready because we're coming for you. Now, we were pretty kind giving Dallas a 2-0 series lead, but you know what? We just want the series to be competitive for the fans here. We're going to be winning 4 straight games here. We've already won 3 in a row. Let's make it 4 in a row in game 6. We can't sweep every team. We got to keep it competitive. So we've moved on to the second round here. We're on a 4-game winning streak, and we're about to make it an 8-game winning streak as we're going to sweep the Anaheim Ducks. Unfortunately, it's not going to be an 8-game winning streak because we're going to lose game 1 and game number 5 here, but we are still up 3-2 in the series, and hopefully we can close this out in game number 6. We're off to the conference finals once again. I don't know why. Something about being up 3-1 in a series always has me concerned because I always just have flashbacks of that one time. Blowing a 3-0 series lead. I'll never forgive our team for that. So we already know the Winnipeg Jets are going to lose to the Vegas Golden Knights. We just have to figure out who's going to be losing in the Stanley Cup final to us. It's either going to be the New York Islanders or Boston Bruins. That's how confident I am. I'm just trying to figure out who's going to be losing next. So we already know what's going on here. The Winnipeg Jets are going to be losing to the Vegas Golden Knights, and we're going to move on to the Stanley Cup final here. You know what? I'm just going to keep on simulating games until we know who we're taking on. Either the Boston Bruins or the New York Islanders. It looks like it's going to be the Boston Bruins, so they're going to be the next team losing to the Vegas Golden Knights here because we're just too good. A 3-1 series lead, and in Game 5, we're closing this one out. A 5-2 victory. We've gone back-to-back once again. How many Stanley Cups have we won so far? I gotta calculate this real quick. Now we've won 1 Stanley Cup with Adin Hill, 2 Stanley Cups with Logan Thompson, and 2 Stanley Cups with Burnett, 5 Stanley Cups, and we're not even in year 10 yet. We just completed season number 9 of the rebuild, and we have 10 Stanley Cups under our belt. This might go down as the most successful rebuild I've ever recorded. That Toronto Maple Leafs 25-year rebuild, that was a pretty successful one as well, but Vegas, they might top it. Now the first round pick we acquired from the Seattle Kraken isn't as valuable as I was hoping, so I'm going to trade it over to the Detroit Red Wings, and ideally we can get a future first and second round pick. They're going to be saying no in this deal, but you know what? I don't think we're too far off. I'll give you a 5th rounder as well, and I think that might be enough to get this deal done. So after making the trades we did, we only had 2 picks in the draft, and we actually got 2 pretty good prospects. One of them is going to be a medium league potential goaltender. We selected 128th overall, while the other prospect we selected, he's got medium top 6 potential, so he has the potential to develop into a good player. So we have $10 million to work with, and you know what? I don't think we're going to be able to afford to bring any of these guys back. Tage Thompson, he wants $9 million. We have $10 million to work with, so we could sign him, but then I don't know what we're going to do with our third pairing defense. Timo Meier, $7.3 million. Once again, we can make that work, but then I don't know what we're going to do with the defensive pairings. Sean Durzi's dropped to an 84 overall. He's not coming back. Holmberg had a great career with us, but unfortunately time's going to be up for you because you want $4 million, and I don't want to commit that to a bottom 6 piece. So Gavin McKenna, of course, I want to keep you on the team here, but this deal is a bit more expensive than I was hoping, and we're only going to get you for 4 years here. So 4 years at 11.5 million. It's not the worst contract in the world, and I just realized you have a superstar X Factor now. Now I'm actually really happy with that deal. Alex DeBrincat, you are a crucial part to that Stanley Cup team, and I can't thank you enough for everything you've done with this franchise. However, we gotta move on from you. You're 34 years old. As we know, you're gonna start declining, and your trade value is gonna keep on dropping. Lettermack, you're locked down for the next 7 years at $11 million. That's a bit expensive, but you're an 89 overall. You're gonna be a great player for us. So you in the 4th round pick's what we're gonna be acquiring for DeBrincat. They're gonna be saying that's a bit low, so a 7th rounder is gonna make the difference. This is a tough trade to make here. Alex DeBrincat, he was a crucial part to this team, but we gotta move on here. Okay, a 7th rounder is really not enough. I went through that heartfelt speech only for a 7th rounder to not be enough. A 6th rounder better be. So Alex DeBrincat, thank you for all the amazing years here, but it's time for us to move on. So Holmberg, I'm actually going to bring you back for this season. I changed my mind because we need a playmaker on the bottom 6. Surprisingly, there are 0 players in the league that can be a playmaker and fit on the bottom 6. Holmberg is the only player in the entire league. I don't understand why. I went through basically every single playmaker in the league. He's the only guy that fits on the bottom 6. It doesn't make any sense, but that's just the case. So we're entering that part of the rebuild where the defensemen start asking for incredibly stupid contracts, like 80 overalls want $6 to $7 million. However, there's a defenseman right here, he's an 80 overall, he wants $1.5 million. I'm willing to give you $3 million for the next 7 seasons. That'll keep you on this team long term, and that contract will age very well for us. Now we have to acquire one more defenseman before we get into next season. That's going to be Dempsey here. He's from the Boston Bruins, 82 overall. We're going to be trading this medium league potential player. Now he's a 77 overall at 21 years old, but he's a grinder, can't really shoot, can't really play make. All he can really do for us is play decent defense, and he's a physical player. Is he going to be a top 6 guy for us? Absolutely not. So you know what? Him having medium league potential basically means nothing. Him and a 2nd rounder are off to the Boston Bruins. They're going to be saying no to a deal like this, but I'll include another 2nd round pick. We just want to get Dempsey. We need some more help defensively. And then we're going to do one final signing before next season. It's going to be Noah Cates, 1.7 for next season. So we've won back-to-back Stanley Cups again, and the team's looking absolutely fantastic here. Lettermacky, he's going to have an incredible line fit. We're getting a +5 boost here. The bottom 6 might have taken a slight step back. Gregory's down to a 79 overall, but you know what? He's got a great line fit. They're going to be getting a +1 boost. We're still in a good position. Defensively, Kevin Korchinski, he's the guy from here on out, 89 overall. Look at all those X factors. This guy's going to develop into a superstar. And you know who else is a superstar? Burnett. But why do you only have 2 X factors? Bro, you're an 89 overall, 24 years old. Give this man the respect he deserves and give him a superstar X factor. I don't know what to say. I honestly don't. 2nd in the entire league, 39, 21, and 2. What happened to our team? What happened to the fantastic offense? What happened to the unstoppable defense? I mean, the unstoppable defense is still here, but 2nd in the entire league? That's not good enough for me. Okay, so Kevin Korchinski's leading the team. Kevin Korchinski, the defenseman, 76 points in 62 games here. How is he ahead of McKenna? How is he ahead of Leo Carlsson? How is he ahead of Lettermacky? I think I've been calling him Lettermacky up until this point. It's Lettermacky. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. How is Kevin Korchinski leading the way? Well, Burnett, 29 wins, 5 shots, and 910 to 275. I mean, these are still fantastic numbers, but I think we should make one change to the team. Now, this might be a bit of a controversial move, but we're going to be picking up Connor McMichael here. 86 overall Connor McMichael with an X factor. That's right, Connor McMichael is dominating the NHL right now. He has 70 points in 63 games. I would never have expected in a million years that Connor McMichael would be over a point a game at the trade deadline and 86 overall with an X factor. We are going to have to give up a lot more than I was hoping for, but you know what? If we can win a Stanley Cup, it's definitely worth it. A first rounder, a fifth rounder, and a fourth is going to be sent over to the Washington Capitals. They're still going to be saying no to a deal like this. I guess I can just give them a third rounder for 2034. So here's a third rounder for 2034. I actually don't even think that's going to be enough, so I better throw a fourth round pick in this deal. I'll give Washington their fourth rounder back, and I think this might be enough to get this deal done. We're actually going to have to give up way more than I thought, but you know what? A lot of these picks aren't even ours. The fourth rounder's not, the fifth rounder isn't, so I'm fine with trading these picks away to get Connor McMichael, and I'm okay with trading these picks as long as we win a Stanley Cup. Now, I'm happy to say the Golden Knights are finishing the season out strong, back where we belong, first in the entire league with a 54-24-4 record. The offense is back above 4 goals a game, while the defense still looking spectacular. The only question I have with a team like this is, can the new pieces step it up in the postseason when it matters most? Also, shout out to Kevin Korchinski, 98 points, and Connor McMichael, 97. How many points did you have since joining the team here? 27 points in 20 games, and you're a third line player. Okay, we are looking fantastic. And to cap it all off, Burnett, get some more X factors. This is honestly disrespectful to you. I mean, it's actually not up to you. It's up to the simulation and the fact that they give you the X factors. But man, you had 9 shutouts this season and you still only have 2. Put a bit of respect on my man's name. So we all know what's on the line here. Can the big time players step up when it matters most? Once again, we've won 2 Stanley Cups in a row here. It's time to make it 3. We have the Anaheim Ducks first. We better be prepared for a tough first round matchup. Okay, so I guess it's not going to be a tough first round matchup. We're going to be sweeping the Anaheim Ducks. So we've moved on to the second round here. The Vegas Golden Knights are looking fantastic. 12 more wins and we completed 3-peat. We got to just take it one game at a time here. Well, that was really easy. 8 games down, 8 more to go. Now we've won 8 straight games. We made it to the conference finals, a place where this team always performs. We have the Colorado Avalanche up next. If we were able to win 8 in a row, we can win another 8 in a row. So we started the postseason 11-1 here. We almost swept the Colorado Avalanche. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that, but we're going to take them out in game 5 here. 12-1 in the postseason. No one can stop us. We're about to complete a second 3-peat. Now we all know what's on the line here. Another 3-peat. Montreal, you're not beating us. Plain and simple. I am so happy to see the amount of success the Vegas Golden Knights are seeing right now. Like, this is such a good rebuild right now, and things are not looking good. Okay, I was hyping this team up, and we completely folded here. We got to make some crazy comeback. A 3-1 series comeback to force Game 7. That is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate right there. We're losing in the Stanley Cup final. Yeah, that is tough. I'm taking back everything I said. I was so happy with this team. We were looking fantastic, and then we folded when it mattered most. Kevin Korchinski, you're him, plain and simple, 26 points. Gavin McKenna's picking up 23. Lecker-Mackey, he's going to be picking up 22 here. Well, the goaltending, that was fantastic as well. I don't know what happened in that final matchup. I don't know why the Montreal Canadiens beat us. Who did they have on their team? Like, real talk, who did the Montreal Canadiens have, and why did they beat us? Okay, they had an elite goaltender, I'll give it to them there, but I mean, he didn't play that great, had a goals against above 3. Tage Thompson, you absolute traitor. I hate you with a passion. He's won 3 straight Stanley Cups. What a traitor. You could have stayed on our team. I mean, I probably should have kept you on our team. That's crazy to think about. If I kept Tage Thompson on our team, we would have won 3 straight Stanley Cups. But I got to give it to them. This is a really good team. Kurtz, Tage Thompson, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki. Like, they're not messing around over there. The rest of the team might not be the best in the world, but those top 4 players, they're elite. So I guess that Detroit pick's going to be pretty valuable because it's going to turn to the 8th overall. So I think if we trade up a little bit, we'll be able to jump into the top 5. Now this is the prospect that I want from the draft. Erisberg, he was selected by the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's always easier to trade for the prospect than it is the pick. So our 8th overall pick along with the 227 is going to be sent over to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're going to be saying no to this deal. I might just include all of our picks for this season, but hopefully the 7th rounder can make the difference here. They're going to be saying no, but we're just a bit low. So I'll take the 7th rounder out and make it a 5th rounder instead, and this should be enough to get this deal done. And that's not going to be the only elite potential player we're picking up in this draft, because we're also getting a medium elite potential goaltender. Now, Connor McMichael, you're a great player. How much money are you going to be asking for? Obviously, you're going to be reasonable. $15.85 million. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I'm not bringing Connor McMichael back to this team. I just wanted to point out the fact that this man wants almost $16 million at 32 years old. Now, when it comes to the re-sign phase, nothing's happening here. Every single player right here is going to be walking. And that includes our goaltender, Qualp here because I can't afford to bring him back. I think he wants $3 million. Okay, never mind. He actually lowered what his asking price was. If I can do 1.7 for the next 2 years, then I'll do this deal. But if you say no to that, we'll get a replacement, and it looks like that's what we're going to be doing. Now, it's kind of good we haven't been giving out a lot of big-time extensions because now we have to bring back Leo Carlsson and Kevin Korchinski. This is going to cost us a lot of money. This is not nearly as bad as I thought, though. Like, I was fully under the impression Leo Carlsson was going to be asking for $16 million, but we're going to do $11 million for the next 8. Kevin Korchinski, on the other hand, he's probably going to want $16 million. Yeah, it's almost $16 million for Kevin Korchinski. Do we make a trade here? Like, I got nothing against Kevin Korchinski, but $16 million, we actually don't have enough money to give you an extension now that we gave Leo Carlsson one. So how are we going to get this deal done? Now, bringing back Kevin Korchinski is actually going to be a lot easier than I thought because we're going to be trading 2 guys away because man did they decline. Lekkerimäki, you dropped to an 85 overall. I have no clue why you declined that much considering you had another fantastic season. You were borderline a point a game here. You had 79 points in 82 games plus 16, but for some reason you got worse. You know who else got worse? Zachary Bolduc, he's dropped to an 84 overall. So just by trading these 2 players right here, we're freeing up about $16 million. Obviously, we're going to be taking a bit of a cap hit on by trading these guys, but yeah, we got to get rid of them and we got to get younger. Alright, so we're going to be doing a trade immediately here with Lekkerimäki. Him and a second rounders off to the Dallas Stars. We're picking up Rubrock. Medium elite potential, 5 years left on his contract at $7.6 million. He's incredibly young still. This deal makes so much sense, I'm not even considering what I'm giving up here. We're saving a lot of money and we're in a better position. Zachary Bolduc, I want to thank you for your time here, but it's time to trade you away. We're picking up Kaapo Kakko. He's on a 1-year deal. The plan is Kaapo Kakko plays on the second line this season, and then we just don't bring him back next year. Ideally, that right winger we traded for from the Tampa Bay Lightning, he's going to jump onto the second line, not this season, but next season. So we're just going to give him 1 more year to develop, but until then, Kaapo Kakko in a second round from the Calgary Flames, I'll definitely do a deal like that. They're saying no, and they're acting like I'm absolutely bugging here. So how about you just give me 2 4th rounders? How about a 3rd and a 4th rounder instead of giving that second round pickup? They're going to be saying no here. I'll take the 3rd rounder out. And then can we get this deal done? Yes, we can. So now that we've made those moves, we have enough money to bring back Kevin Korchinski here. It's going to cost us quite a bit of money, but you know what? He's one of the best defensemen in the game right now. So we're doing $13.6 million for the next 8. All right, so we got to pick up some guys for the bottom 6 here. And Dennis, you can be a decent enough playmaker for us. So I'm going to be trading a prospect and a 7th rounder. I'm very surprised that this isn't enough. So we'll do 2 7th rounders. You know what? Giving up 2 2nd rounders, you better turn into the greatest player of all time. Because as we know, 7th rounder is the most lucrative draft pick in the game. So we have a bit of extra money to sign players to 1-year deals, but Coles, and I'll give you 4.4 for next season. You can be a bottom 6 guy for us. And then Ian Bertuzzi, I have no clue who you are, but you can play on the bottom 6 as well. Here's 4.3. So we need a backup, and Chapman, you can be a pretty cheap goaltender for us. Here's 1.1 for the next 3 years. You're 79 overall. I'm not expecting you to do too much. Just win a game or 2. So after losing in the Stanley Cup final, we had to change the team up a little bit, had to trade some players out. But you know what? These 5 guys are going to be here for a long time. Kaapo Kakko, he's not going to be back next season. We already know this. But these top 5 players right here, they're the future of this team. Well, hopefully they're the future and I don't immediately trade one of them away. The defense still looking absolutely fantastic. I got no issue with this whatsoever. And Burnett, you continue to be an absolute disappointment. I mean, you're not really the disappointment, but it's the fact that you only have 3 X factors and you're an 87 overall. With the fantastic numbers he's put up, with the postseason success he's seen, why is he only an 87? He should be a 90 overall goaltender, and I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights are doing their usual thing. We're back at the top of the league at the trade deadline, a 47-13-4 record. The offense is doing its thing, and so is the defense. We already know the story with us. Now, there's only one disappointment with this team. Dalibor Dvorsky, 48 points and you're -1. How are you -1? Like, real talk, what's going on here? Actually, I take that back. There's 2 upsets because Kaapo Kakko, I am expecting a bit more. You're playing top 6 minutes here. You should have more than 42 points. Burnett, though, keep doing your thing. 40 wins, 3 shots, a 916 to 244. We all know what you're capable of. So Dalibor Dvorsky, unfortunately, I can't have you holding this team back. I gotta ship you out over to the Calgary Flames. Do I ship you out though? Because I mean, at your price tag, you're still a really good player. 1.7 million, and what are you, an 82 overall? We're not getting a replacement better than that, so I take that back. I'm not trading you away. However, Dalibor Dvorsky is going to be moving down to the 4th line because we're going to be making a trade with the Calgary Flames here. And after acquiring Honzek, I'm going to be giving him an extension here. We're doing 3.5 for the next 5 years. He's an 85 overall with an X factor. He's going to be a good 3rd line player for us. And the reason we acquired Honzek is I believe he's going to be a future 3rd line centerman for this team because this 3rd line right now looking spectacular. So Vegas does what they do. First in the entire league, 58 wins. We already know what this team's about. Gavin McKenna, we know what he's about. 102 points here. Keeping's picking up 94. Joe Iginla, 85. Korchinski, 83. This team's just solid all around. Also, Dalibor Dvorsky, you're finishing +2. You'll love to see it. Honzek, what'd you do since joining the team here? Hopefully you had a decent plus-minus. Hey, 16 points in 18 games and you're +3. I'll take it. Meanwhile, the greatest goaltender in the league, Walker Burnett, 46 wins, 4 shots on 914 to 241, lead us to another Stanley Cup. We know you're capable of it. We've made it to 3 Stanley Cup finals in a row. Let's make it 4 here. So we just got to keep the series entertaining for the fans. We're going to give Seattle the first 2 games, but we're going to win 4 straight right after that. Okay, we're facing elimination here in the first round. We don't lose in the first round. We're known for that. Oh my God, 3 straight Stanley Cup finals and then we lost in the first round. I don't want to look at the stats of this team. I don't want to see who wins the Stanley Cup. Leo Carlsson, you were incredible, but nah, we just have to head right to the draft, pretend this didn't happen, and get ready for next season. We're not addressing this. We just got to move on. We got to rebuild the team a little bit and get back to winning Stanley Cups. That's what we do best. Now, I can't really remember what happened in the postseason for us, but you know what? We got some great things going on in the draft here. We're going to be securing a medium league potential playmaker in the second round. And that's not going to be the only great prospect here because we're also getting a low league potential gem in the 4th round. And we're not done there because we're going to continue to bring in the elite potential players and we're securing this one 156th overall. Now, in the re-sign phase, nothing's really going to be happening here other than qualifying 2 RFAs. Kaapo Kakko, you're going to be leaving the team, but we already knew you were only here for the 1 year. So I've actually changed my mind on Dempsey. I am going to be keeping him on this team. We're going to do a 7x7 with him. Medium league potential. He's 21 years old. He's going to keep on getting better here. It's probably important that we keep him on this team. So Trainer was selected 60th overall. He's a 49 overall with medium league potential. The issue I have with him is by the time he's able to jump into the lineup, he's going to be like 23 years old and his potential is going to dwindle a lot. However, we could pick up Yakupov from the Arizona Coyotes, 17 years old and 81 overall. He'd be a lot better for this team and he fits the timeline. Arizona's going to be saying no to the first package we're sending over, but Trainer, a first, a third, and a 6th rounder is going to be enough to get Yakupov. Now, we already know what the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be doing this season. They're going to be winning games and they're going to be at the top of the league. Erzberg's going to be jumping into the lineup, so is Yakupov. They actually both have decent enough line fits where it makes sense for the team. Unless I did a swap like that, do I want Yakupov playing some top line minutes? He's actually better on the 3rd line, so that's where we're going to be playing him. Defensively, we're looking absolutely spectacular here. No weaknesses whatsoever. While the goaltending, Walker Burnett, just keep on doing your thing. So of course, we already know what the Vegas Golden Knights do. First in the entire league, another 56-win season. Gavin McKenna, 101 points here. Keeping's going to have 91. He's actually turned out to be a really great player for us. A superstar X factor. I wasn't really expecting that. Kevin Korchinski, a bit of a fall off for you. 69 points this season. Right after I gave you that massive extension, you pick up 69 points. Ain't no way. Meanwhile, Burnett, just do you, man. Burnett's really been one of the most consistent goaltenders we've had on this team. Then again, Logan Thompson was very consistent and so was Aiden Hill. So what am I talking about? Every goaltender we've had on this team has been consistent. And you know what we consistently do? Win games. Let's get revenge on the Seattle Kraken. So Vegas learned from their previous mistakes and they know that they can't mess around with the Seattle Kraken. We currently have a 3-1 series leading in Game 5. We're going to close this one out in a massive win. 7-4 is what you call making a statement. So this is going to be our toughest matchup. We're taking on one of the best teams in the entire league in the second round. The team that won the Stanley Cup last season, the San Jose Sharks. Vegas has been preparing themselves for a matchup like this, and I don't think San Jose is prepared for what we're about to do. Okay, I guess the San Jose Sharks were prepared because now we're down 3-1 in the series and we lost in a 5-game series. Yeah, so I guess we weren't prepared. Because San Jose certainly was. They were lighting the lamp here. They were almost scoring 5 goals every game. They scored 5 goals in every single game except for Game 3. And the thing is, our defense is incredible. The goaltending is great on this team. There's nothing I can really do about that. We just lost to a better team. And right after beating us, the San Jose Sharks are going to prove to complete frauds and lose to the Chicago Blackhawks, who sweep the Boston Bruins. If we're going to lose to a team, they better win the Stanley Cup. I don't want to be losing to teams that lose in the conference finals. Then again, I'm pretty sure Seattle lost in the second round last season, but we don't talk about that. This team didn't perform when it mattered most. Plain and simple, we need these guys to step up here. Meanwhile, Burnett, I'm not going to put the blame on you here. We were allowing so many goals in the second round that these numbers are a bit skewed. Clearly something went wrong, but I don't think it's you. I know you can perform with the best. So I just took a shot in the dark on a prospect like this, but it's going to work out for us. We're getting a defensive defenseman who has medium league potential, 92nd overall. And considering we only had 2 picks in this draft, I'm definitely going to consider this a W. So you got to make some adjustments to the team because we can't afford to bring back some of these RFAs. We're picking up Henderson from the Minnesota Wild, and he's going to be a good bottom 6 piece for us. And then the next move is going to be with the team that eliminated us in the playoffs. Trafford's going to be acquired from the San Jose Sharks here. They're going to be saying no to a deal like this. A 3rd rounder or something will be the difference. It probably won't even take a 3rd rounder. Here's a 4th rounder, and that's going to make the difference. So Burnett's the guy for us. There's no question about it. I have full belief in him. Silverberg, you're a great goaltender, and you're going to be a great goaltender. There's no question about it. But you know what? I got to rock with Burnett. He's been our guy since since the very beginning. Well, not the very beginning, but he's been here a long time. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with us. We're going to be trading Silfverberg in a first rounder over to the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're getting Tim James. He's got medium league potential. We're going to send him to the WHL for another season. We're going to allow him to develop, and that's also going to help the cap situation a bit here. Basically, we just need cheap players that are going to continue to develop, and that's exactly what Tim James is going to be doing. We don't need a goaltender because we already have ours locked down. This package right here is going to be enough to get Tim James, so welcome to the team. Now, on paper, our team's really good here, and we know for a fact that they're going to finish top 3 in the entire league. I can basically guarantee that this team right here is going to be first in the entire league. We already know who's going to be leading the team. That's going to be Kevin Korchinski. The defensive core here is looking really strong. I got no issues with that, and I also have no issues with Burnett. He hasn't necessarily played the great in the past 2 postseasons, and we did just trade a highly potential goaltender away, but you know what? That's just a bit of motivation for him. He's got to prove to us that we made the right decision. It's also a known fact that this team has no cap space right now, so we can't acquire any players at the trade deadline, so we're just going to go right to the end of the season and finish with 61 wins. That's the plan, at least. So we have a massive surprise here. The Vegas Golden Knights first in the entire league, but the most surprising thing about this season, look at that offense. 4.44 goals per game. We were really lighting the lamp this season. And with us lighting the lamp, we're going to have 3 100-point players on this team. McKenna's picking up 106, Leo Carlson 101, and Kevin Korchinski. What a bounce back season from you. You're going to be picking up 100 points as well. While the goaltending, Walker Burnett, we already know what you do around here. 53 wins, 6 shots, a 905 and a 277. I believe this is the best season you've ever had. But I don't care what you did during the regular season because now it's about to get real. We have the San Jose Sharks to take on. We already know what San Jose is about. They're about winning games, but so are we. This is going to be a fantastic first round matchup, and we can't take these guys lightly. Now, to be fair, we finished first in the entire league, so that means the San Jose Sharks are a wildcard team, and wildcard teams can't compete with us. We're taking them down a 5-game series. Now, I might have gassed up the San Jose Sharks a bit too much. This next team, on the other hand, I'm not going to be hyping up as much. It's just the Anaheim Ducks. But I should have been much more prepared for the Anaheim Ducks because this team's locked in right now. They have a 3-1 series lead, and make that a 4-1 series lead, and we're out in the second round. Yeah, so you remember how I said I wasn't scared of the Anaheim Ducks? I take it back. So obviously the big time players weren't making big time plays here. Ryan Rubrock, I brought you onto this team to score goals. You had 0 goals in 10 games. Great work, man. Now the Vegas Golden Knights have been disappointed one too many times here. It's time to do a mini retool here, and then we're going to be back for next season. So you already know we got to make some big moves in the draft, and that's what we do around here. We're securing a low league potential gem with 156th overall. Now like usual, when it comes to the re-sign phase, not too much is going to be happening. A couple of RFAs are going to be qualified, and then a couple of rookies are going to be signed. Now this is an easy decision to make, but it's also a hard one. Gavin McKenna, here's $12.4 million for the next 6 seasons. By doing this deal right here, Yakupov's not coming back next season. Erzberg's not coming back. Henderson's not coming back. All these guys are going to be qualified as RFAs, then traded away. So we are going to make one trade before we head into next season. We're going to be picking up Dennis because Trafford, we can't afford to keep you on this team. You want like $8 million. It's actually a bit ridiculous how once you get this far into the rebuild, everyone wants $9 million. Like respectfully, you're an 82 overall. You're not worth $9 million. So once again, the team's looking absolutely fantastic here. I have no issues whatsoever. The defense is looking great, but there's one thing we can finally celebrate. Burnett's got all of his X factors. He's got 5. The only thing he's missing is that superstar X factor. But you know what? We're going to take 5. The fact that we had to wait until he turned 28 years old to receive all 5 X factors is absolutely absurd. But you know what? Now that he's got all 5, he's a different type of goaltender. He's even better than what he was before. And if he could win Stanley Cups before, you already know he's going to be winning more now. So it's another great season from the Vegas Golden Knights. We're first with a 59-17-6 record. However, the team definitely did take a step back this season. But James, I want to point out your historic season here. 80 points, 47 goals, 33 helpers. This was his rookie season. Bro's up to an 88 overall after his rookie season. Yeah, we might want to keep this guy around on the team long term. On top of that, Burnett, you might go down as one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. You're picking up 47 wins here once again. You're at 362 on your career. Just for a bit of context, 362 wins would have him 23rd all time in NHL wins, passing Carey Price by 1. How many games did Carey Price play? 712. How many has Burnett played? 535. So if he keeps up this pace, he might go down as the winningest goalie of all time. However, if I'm being honest, I don't think he's going to be passing Marty Brodeur. But that's enough talking about regular season wins. This is where it matters most. Let's get a couple of postseason wins. 16 to be exact. All right, let's get ready for next season. Okay, so this draft is absolutely abysmal right now. The best thing I'm going to be getting is a 7th D potential player. That's what's available, 28th overall. So we're just going to get a future first round pick from the Arizona Coyotes. And with us understanding how bad this draft is, we're just trading all of our draft picks away. We're getting a future 3rd round pick from some team. I don't care which team gives us a future 3rd round pick. It looks like it's going to be the Buffalo Sabres. So this offseason, we're going to be qualifying a ton of RFAs. We're only going to be losing one player here, but I have a plan heading into next season. There's a very high chance my plan doesn't work, but if it does work out for us, we're going to be in an incredible spot for the future. So with that being said, let's make some big time moves. So let me explain what my thought process was. I was going to try to pick up a young rookie such as Nicholas here. 67 overall, 21 years old. He only has 2 more years left on his rookie deal. I was hoping to find somebody who is on the final year of their rookie deal, but also an incredibly low overall such as Nicholas, who's a 67. I would then proceed to give them an 8-year extension. Now, I was hoping if I gave them an 8-year extension that since they're such a low overall, they're only going to want like $1.5–2 million. Now, the logic I'm using right now, we're not going to be seeing this offseason, but potentially next, because there is nobody on an expiring rookie deal. Nicholas is the closest guy that would fit the requirements here, but he has 2 years left on his rookie deal. I'm going to allow him to play one more season in the Carolina Hurricanes farm system, and then if I could trade for him next season and then give him a long-term deal, we're going to see what happens. Since we can't do plan A, we're moving on to plan B. Zykov, he was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. I don't know why they haven't given him a rookie deal, but we're going to trade for him and then immediately give him his rookie deal, and he's going to be one of our defensemen for next season. He's a 79 overall, but he's still a young player. He's going to keep on getting better. I think a 3rd rounder will be enough to get this deal done. Zykov, welcome to the team. So this is a trade I'm looking at right now. It's going to be Yakupov over to the Nashville Predators. He has high elite potential, so he's got a ton of trade value. We're picking up Ekman. He's an 82 overall, under contract for the next 2 years. He can be a 3rd line guy for us. We're also going to be getting a 1st and 2nd rounder in a deal like this. They're saying no, unfortunately, but maybe we can get this 1st round pick. That's a deal you'll love to see right there. So we're not done there because as we know, Erzberg, he can't return to the team. We don't have the money for him. So him and 2 3rd rounders are off to the LA Kings, and we're picking up Fisher. They're going to be saying no to a deal like this, but we're pretty close in value. So here's a 6th rounder for the year 2038, and we're getting this deal done just like that. But that's not the only deal we're doing here. We're still making some big ones. Okay, I look like a massive clown because I'm doing another deal with the LA Kings. I could have just done this as 1 deal, but instead we're going to be doing it as 2 here. A 1st rounder, Henderson, and something else is going to be added into this deal. Here's a 4th and 5th rounder for 2038. All I know is we're picking up a great defenseman here. Now this is going to be our last move. Shepard from the Carolina Hurricanes. He's an 81 overall with 2 X factors. We're giving up a 1st and 2nd rounder. We basically have no draft picks to work with for the next couple years, but you know what? We're still in a good position. This team's got a lot of players locked down, and you already know we're going to be 1st in the entire league once the regular season's up. The playoffs though, that's a different animal. We got to be prepared. So we've made a ton of moves here, but one thing we haven't done is give out extensions, and Rubrock, here's 8.5 for the next 4. The real question is going to be though, is Burnett going to be coming back to this team? Now that we gave Rubrock an extension, we're not going to have money for Burnett, and I think we're actually just going to be walking away from him. He wants $11 million. I don't think we can do that if I'm being completely honest. Now, I don't feel the need to go over this team every single season because we already know what we're looking like. We're going to finish 1st in the entire league here, and then we're going to lose in the 1st round because for some reason this team's been a massive disappointment the past couple of years. But you know what? We have an 85 overall backup in McIntyre. We've never had a backup this good before. Burnett and McIntyre, maybe they can do something special here and win 65 games, who knows? Maybe a tandem like this can turn our team around and we can see some success in the postseason, but at the end of the day, it doesn't come down to Burnett because he always shows up when it matters most. This forward core needs to show up. What am I looking at right here? 2nd in the entire league. We're 2nd in the entire league to the Arizona Coyotes. How does something like this even happen? We have a better offense than them. We have a better defense than them. No, seriously, how do we not finish 1st in the entire league? We were 1st in offense with 4.13 goals, and we were 1st in defense with 2.55, but yet we're 2nd in the entire league. Fair enough. I believe this is the first time we're going to see Keeping leading the way here. He's picked up 101 points this season, 47 goals and 54 helpers. A great season from him. It was a great season from the team in general. We're looking to win a Stanley Cup here, and Burnett, this is your final year with the team. What are you going to be able to do here other than post a career season having a 233 and a 917? The second I'm contemplating getting rid of you, this is what you do. Seems about right. But I don't care what you've done in the regular season, and I don't care what this team's done in the regular season. The past couple years have been tough on us, so we got to bounce back against the Nashville Predators. We got to go on another deep run here. Okay, so the Nashville Predators are putting up a bigger fight than they should be right now. We split the series 2 games apiece. What's game 5 going to be looking like? It's a 4-3 victory for us, and ideally we close this out in game 6, a 10-2 win. That's a statement game right there. The rest of the league better be prepared. Well, look who's losing in the 1st round to the Chicago Blackhawks, the Arizona Coyotes. That's what you deserve. First in the entire league above the Vegas Golden Knights, you were frauds and everyone knew it. Similar to that series against the Nashville Predators, we're going to be exchanging games, but in Game 5, we're going to be showing up once again. We're taking that one 6-3, and if we can close this out in Game 6, we're moving on to the conference finals. A 2-1 victory is all it's going to take. If the Chicago Blackhawks were able to make it to this point, then we know they're a good team and we got to be prepared for them. They took out the Arizona Coyotes, but the Arizona Coyotes are frauds and we all knew that, but they beat the Colorado Avalanche and the Avs were definitely legit. So this is going to be a good matchup. Similar to our last two matchups, we're going to be splitting the series up until Game 5 where we're going to be taking the lead. A Game 6 victory would send us to the Stanley Cup final, but it looks like we're going to need Game 7 first. So here we go, Game 7, winners off to the Stanley Cup final. The Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. We've been exchanging goals the entire game. The third period is going to be deciding this one, and it looks like the big time players are making big time plays here. Ekman's going to be picking up the game winner, and we're off to the Stanley Cup final. Now, it's been a handful of years since we've been in this position, the Stanley Cup final. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning here. Burnett, this is your final season with the team, so let's cap it off with one final Stanley Cup. So it comes down to a best of 7 series. Who's going to be the best in these next 7 games? I mean, ideally, we don't need 7 games. Actually, I need 7 games here because we're not looking good. We're winning Game 5. We got to wake up here in Game 6 and force a Game 7. A 3-win series, come back to win a Stanley Cup. That's what we're doing for Burnett here. So here we go. The winner of this game is going to be hoisting the Stanley Cup. A lot of goals are going to be scored in the first period. Tampa's going to open the game with a 2-0 lead, but we're going to be responding here, and we're going to keep on rolling. 3 straight goals. Can we close this out and win another Stanley Cup here? We're going to be picking up another 2 goals here. 5 straight goals from the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's going to give us another Stanley Cup. Now, as much as I want to highlight the scoring numbers here, we got to look at the goaltending. Burnett, you are the man for us. 16 wins, 1 shutout, a 910, a 279. That's going to be your 3rd Stanley Cup with the team, and that's also going to be your final Stanley Cup with the team. Thank you for everything you did here. We don't have the cap space to bring you back. We're moving on. Now, we only have 1 pick in the draft, and that's the 32nd overall, but I'm actually going to trade over to the Arizona Coyotes, and I want to see if we can get their 1st round pick for next season. Looks like we'll be able to. So free agencies began here, and I think we're going to be able to lock McIntyre down long term now. We're doing $7.6 million for the next 7. You better accept this deal. So Kevin Korchinski, you've been one of the best defensemen on this team for a very long time. You're going to go down as the best defenseman in Vegas Golden Knights history. However, you're 34 years old. You've already started to decline here. You've dropped to an 86 overall, so it's time to trade you away. And Nicholas, it's time to try out our theory. Is it going to be working? You're 71 overall with medium league potential. If I give you a long-term deal, are you going to be able to live up to the hype? That's what we're about to find out. But I want something other than just Nicholas. Give me Ottoson as well. He'll be a good defenseman. So Kevin Korchinski's being sent over to the Carolina Hurricanes, and we got this deal done. Another reason I traded Kevin Korchinski away is I want to make sure I can bring back James here, and I have to give him 12.2 for the next 5 years. So Nicholas, if we do a long-term deal with you, what are we going to be looking at? 8 years at $2.7 million. So this is going to be a massive risk. I'm going to give him top pairing minutes in the AHL. We're going to hope that he can turn into a superstar defenseman for us. This is a very big risk. He doesn't have too many more years of development left, but I think it could work out for us. Now, it wasn't too long ago a guy like Henderson actually played for our team, but he signed a pretty good contract, 2.8 for the next 2 years. I would love to bring him to this team, so I'm giving up 2 RFAs and a 3rd round pick in order to get him. Before we head into this season, we do need a backup goaltender, and we're going to be acquiring this man right here, 1.3 for the next 3. So the entire forward core here has X factors except for McCarthy. So yeah, we're going to see success, +1 boost on the 4th line, +2 on the 3rd, +3 on the 2nd, and a +5 boost on that top line. These guys are going to be locking it down this season. The defense still looking absolutely spectacular here, while the goaltending is the only question mark we have. Now, I would normally be upset about finishing 2nd in the entire league, and I actually am upset, but you know what happened last time we finished 2nd in the entire league? We won a Stanley Cup, so that's just going to happen again. The offensive numbers on this team are really good like usual. I mean, keeping 77 points, hoping a bit more after a 100-point campaign. Rubrock, 76, not a bad year from you. James, you got to be better though. I just gave you a massive bag and you're only picking up 75 points here. Meanwhile, McIntyre, an incredible season, 45 wins, 4 shots, and 913 to 250. What are the odds he dropped to medium starter potential? Okay, he's still medium elite as he should be. With a season like this, you have to stay at medium elite. Now with 3 peats on the line here, we're going to be matching up against the Anaheim Ducks in the 1st round. Best case scenario, we take out Anaheim early here because we do own their 1st round pick. So although it's not going to be a lottery pick, it can still be pretty valuable after they lose in the 1st round. So it looks like the Anaheim Ducks are going to put up a bit of a fight after being down 3-1 in the series. We're moving on to game 6 here, but I'm not too concerned. I already know we're going to be moving on. We got the Arizona Coyotes up next, and the Arizona Coyotes are absolute frauds. I'm going to take that back immediately. Unless we can complete some wild comeback here, we're losing to the Arizona Coyotes in the 2nd round. Okay, I just called the Arizona Coyotes frauds and then we lost to them. That's a tough look, not gonna lie. So a chance at a repeat's dead here. We have a ton of guys on expiring contracts that are RFAs that we're not gonna be able to afford. So that means we're gonna be making a lot of trades during the offseason. Shout out to the Montreal Canadiens on a Stanley Cup, but the offseason moves begin right now. We're off to the draft. As we know, Anaheim's pick's not going to have any value, but we're going to make some moves, that's for sure. So never mind, we didn't own the Anaheim Ducks first round pick. We owned the Arizona Coyotes first round pick. That is very different. Now we're going to be losing a handful of players during the offseason here, so what we got to do is stack up on first round picks that are going to jump in value. The 24th overall is going to be enough to get Minnesota's future first round pick, but I'll throw a 6th rounder in the deal and then that'll be enough. The next trade we're going to be doing here is acquiring Nashville's first round pick for next season. It's going to be the 29th overall and our 5th rounder for this season. And to finish the draft off here, we're going to be acquiring one more first round pick. This one's going to be from the Ottawa Senators. So here's the re-sign phase process that we do here. Qualify an RFA, qualify another RFA is going to be qualified, qualify another RFA here, and then qualify one final RFA, and then everyone else is walking. A very difficult process if you ask me. So not very often does this happen once you get late into the rebuild. Players actually want to stay on the team. We're going to be keeping you around long term here. We're looking at 11.3 million for the next 8. Joe Iginla, you're another guy on an expiring contract here, but you know what? I don't think we're going to be bringing you back here. I mean, actually we could bring you back. If we can do 7.9 million for the next 6 seasons, that wouldn't be a bad deal. So here you go, here's 7.9 million for the next 6. That's 3 of our main pieces coming back, and then with these RFAs, you're going to watch me cook. Now this is going to be the first player we're acquiring. It's going to be Morrow from the Calgary Flames, under contract for the next 3 years at $1 million. So the next player we're going to acquire here is coming from the Carolina Hurricanes, Lalonde Dress. We're going to be acquiring him for one of our defensemen. That's an RFA. They're going to be saying no to this deal, but a 7th rounder will probably be the difference. I know you guys don't want any of these picks right here, but I'll give you a 5th, 6th, and 7th rounder. That's more than enough. I know that for a fact. And for a bit of context, Fisher, who I traded away, he signed a $13 million deal for the next 7. How do you expect me to afford all these guys? And to cap it off, and then the final guy we're going to be picking up with these RFAs is going to be Markstrom. They're going to be saying no to this deal, but we're so close. All it's going to take is a 7th rounder. But I think I traded all of our 7th rounders away. Never mind. No, I didn't. Here's a 2041 7th rounder, and we got Markstrom. Now, Autosun does not want to sign a respectful deal with this team. Here's 7.1 for next season. I just need you for the 1 year. Next season, you won't be returning. So here's the final deal before we head into next season. We're picking up Jacobson to be one of our 3rd-line centers. Not one of our 3rd-line centers, one of our bottom 6 centers, because you only can have one 3rd-line center. I don't know why I said it like that. Now, obviously, our team's incredibly good here, but we are going to be seeing some changes coming up here. Leo Carlson, he's 34 years old. This is going to be his final season with the team. Joe Iginla, he's 31. Rubrock, he's 31. This team's starting to age out a little bit here, so that means in the next couple of years, some of these guys we're going to be trading for are going to be sticking on the team long term. Now, the Nicholas experiment's actually working out for us. He's a 78 overall, medium-elite potential still, and I'm going to have him playing first pairing minutes alongside Dembski here. Now, if he can somehow develop into like an 85 overall when we're only paying him like what, 2.9 million, 2.5 for the next 8. So he's going to be around for basically the rest of the rebuild here, and if he can develop into an 85, that would be an absolute steal of a deal. Meanwhile, McIntyre, 87 overall. You might have medium start potential now, but you're an 87 overall. I don't care what your potential is if you're that overall. But step it up a bit in the postseason. I don't know what your postseason numbers were last year, but they couldn't have been that good. A 902 and a 306, I need better from you. Now, I never would have expected that in the year 2040, the Arizona Coyotes would be my biggest ops. They're first in the entire league. We're finishing 2nd. I don't know what it is about those Arizona Coyotes, but I guess now that they got a new arena in the year 2040, they're actually a competent franchise. Gavin McKenna, 104. James, he's picking up 103, keeping 101. 3 100-point scores, you'll love to see it. And McIntyre, 45 wins, 2 shots, a 901 and a 304. I can definitely live with these numbers. Actually, no, I can't. Why am I trying to gas up these numbers? These are not good. I know you're our starting goaltender for the future, and I gotta be positive about you in between the pipes, but this ain't it. Plain and simple. If he turns it up in the postseason, though, I'm not gonna have an issue with those disappointing numbers. We got the Colorado Avalanche up next, but I'm looking forward to that conference finals matchup against the Arizona Coyotes, as long as that poverty franchise doesn't fold. So the Colorado Avalanche are no match for us so far, and in Game 5, we're going to close this one out. A nice 6-1 victory. The goaltending so far, spectacular. The Vegas Golden Knights are still alive. The Arizona Coyotes are still alive. That's all that matters right now. That elite conference finals matchup is still a possibility. So we held up our end of the bargain, sweeping the Anaheim Ducks, but the Arizona Coyotes are down 3-1 to the Minnesota Wild. This was supposed to be one of the greatest matchups in the past decade, but you guys just can't live up to the hype, I guess. When the games get tough, you guys can't grind them out. I'm a bit concerned. So the Arizona Coyotes have definitely been competing with us, but we've been competing with the Arizona Coyotes. It goes both ways. We're off to Game 7 and winner's off to the Stanley Cup Final. So it all comes down to one game. The winner's off to the Stanley Cup Final, and I think it's going to be us. Leo Carlsson's going to be leading the way here. We have a 3-0 lead. We collapsed. A monumental collapse here. Wow. Okay. So the winner of the Stanley Cup actually means absolutely nothing. It was a Mickey Mouse Stanley Cup this year. Leo Carlsson, 19 points in 16 games. Ottawa Senators won the Stanley Cup. I believe we own their pick, and I think we own the Arizona Coyotes pick, as well as the Minnesota Wild. So none of those picks are going to have any trade value whatsoever. That's a shame. Actually, I don't think we own Arizona's pick. I don't know what I'm talking about. So these are all the picks we have for this season, and unless I can see a valuable prospect that I want, we're going to be trading them away. Now, it might just be smarter for us to pick up future picks, so I'm getting a future first round pick from the Anaheim Ducks. They're saying no, but a 7th rounder will make the difference. Although we don't have a 7th rounder, so here's the 6th rounder. The Arizona Coyotes first round pick for next season has no value right now, so we're going to trade Minnesota's over to them. And then to cap it all off, the 32nd overall and the 62nd overall are off to the Detroit Red Wings, and we're picking up a 1st and 2nd rounder. I guess we're not going to be getting the 2nd rounder here, but you got to give me a 3rd rounder or something. So I'll take the 2nd rounder out, I'll make it a 3rd rounder instead, and we'll get the deal done. So the re-sign phase, we're going to do the same old thing here, qualify an RFAs, and then we're trading them away. Now we do have to give up one big extension before we get into next season. That's going to be going to Dembski here. We're doing $12 million for the next 8 seasons. So a deal like this looks really stupid, but Leo Carlsson, you're just not that guy anymore. $11 million for an 88 overall. You're 35 years old. We got to do a retool of this team. Henry Hextall, you're going to be one of the future pieces for this team, so we're acquiring you from the Edmonton Oilers. Also, his name's not even Henry Hextall. Don't know why I was calling him that, but I guess I was. The next deal is going to be involving Ryan Rubrock. He's an 86 overall, 32 years old. He hasn't really performed on this team. I mean, he had a couple good years, but we got to embrace the rebuild. Cormier, we're going to be picking you up from the St. Louis Blues. Ryan Rubrock, a 1st and 2nd rounder is not going to be enough here. Honestly, it should be. Here's a 1st round pick as well. If they say no to this deal, we're going to throw in one of these 1st rounders that has more value. Okay, which do you want? Do you want the Detroit Red Wings or do you want the Arizona Coyotes? Here's Arizona's 1st round pick, and we're getting this done. So we've cleared up a bit of money here, and I wouldn't mind giving Shepard a long-term extension. Maybe we can do 6.7 for the next 5. He's a decent enough player for us, and he might be able to jump into the top 6. You never know. We're going to keep on making moves here, and Ottosson's now going to be sent over to the Colorado Avalanche, and we're getting a left defenseman that can stick on the team for the next 2 years. To finish off all the moves we're going to be making this season, we're going to be giving out a massive deal to this defenseman right here. He's only going to be on a 1-year contract, though. I just want to see what happens if we bring him onto our team. We have $29 million in cap space to work with, and we really didn't need to sign anyone, so a deal like this makes a lot of sense for us. So when it comes to extensions, Cormier wants 5 years. However, if we do 4 years, we're taking $2 million off his asking price, and we're going to be able to sign him for a sub $10 million. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Cormier, you're going to be coming back to the team for the next 4 years, and we're going to be looking at $9.8 million. That's going to be an incredible contract for a 90 overall. And then Lonton Dress, we're also going to be given a deal here, $13 million for the next 8. And you might be wondering how we're going to afford both of those guys. Well, we're about to make a trade. And this is how we're going to clear up the money here. Joe Iginla, you've been a great player, but you know what? You've dropped down to the 3rd line, and I don't really want to pay a 3rd line player $7.9 million. So you're off to the Washington Capitals. We're picking up Letang, $3 million for the next 3 years. That's going to be a pretty solid contract. We're also going to be getting some draft compensation in this deal. I'll take the 2nd rounder out, and we'll just be getting a 3rd. But you know what? We're freeing up money here. We're going to be able to bring back a couple guys. That's the right decision for this team. Over the offseason, we made a handful of moves, but this team's still going to be in a great spot. The line chemistry might not be the greatest here, but you know what? Look at all the 90 overalls we have. The big-time players are going to be making big-time plays on this team. Defensively, we're absolutely fantastic here. The lowest overall being an 81 Nicholas, but you know what? We got to give him those top pairing minutes. We got to hope that he can continue to develop, because right now that contract's still looking not too bad for an 81, but it could look better if he was an 85 overall. While the goaltending situation, McIntyre, you got to step it up when it matters most. Can you win a Stanley Cup with this team? That's the real question we're facing right now. We need you to step up when it matters most. I mean, to be fair, you actually did have a really good postseason last year, but I need a bit better from you. I also need better from our forward core. We just got to be scoring more goals. Now, we already knew this was going to happen. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to finish 1st in the entire league here, but we only allowed 200 goals this season, and that's going to be a goals against of 2.44. So I believe that's the best we've ever had. The scoring, that's looking pretty solid like usual. We have a lot of guys over 60 points here, like a ton of players over 60 points. It doesn't matter which line we're going to be running, we're going to see success here. While the goaltending from McIntyre, we're going to see a career season, 55 wins, 5 shots, and 916 to 241. As long as you keep up these numbers into the postseason, we're going to be seeing some success here, but we got to keep that offense going. We have the Nashville Predators in the 1st round. Let's make a statement here. Disregarding game 1, I guess you could say we made a statement here. 2 6-goal games is going to allow us to advance to the 2nd round. Now we're all warmed up, got a bit of momentum going, 4 straight wins under our belt. Now we got the Anaheim Ducks to take on. Now, it's pretty clear why we win games. We're either really good offensively, like we're scoring 8 goals, or we're really good defensively, only allowing 1 goal. These 2 games we lost to the Anaheim Ducks, we weren't doing neither. So you got to move into game 5 here, and we got to score some big time goals. That's exactly what we're doing. Another 8-goal game. Can we cap it off in game 6 with another 8-goal game? It doesn't look like it. We're off to game 7. So here we go, game 7 against the Anaheim Ducks. They're picking up the first goal of the game. They're going to be doubling down with another 2 goals, but we're going to be responding here. A 1-goal game entering the 3rd period, and it's time for Vegas to show up. We win games by scoring lots of goals, and we're going to be tying this one up. Can we pick up 1 more goal in overtime to win this game? Nope, we're going to be folding. A 63-win team, by the way. Whenever this team finishes first in the entire league, we rarely see success. I think you have a better chance at winning the Stanley Cup if you finish second over first. Now, if I were to point the finger at somebody, who's it going to be? Well, the offense wasn't necessarily too bad here. We had a lot of guys performing, so I'm assuming it's the goaltending that held us back. But McIntyre, a 912 and a 277 really isn't that bad. So I just think we lost to a good team. Then again, like Anaheim only won like 45 games or something. So I think we just choked. Yeah, like Anaheim was a 46-win team. We were a 63-win team. I mean, their offense was really good this season, but they didn't have a good defense in the slightest. We should have been able to light the lamp a lot more than we did. All right, so we got to make some moves to the draft here. And the first one's going to be picking up Whitney from the Boston Bruins. He's got low league potential. He was just picked up in the draft here. Unfortunately, a 5th and 4th rounder is not going to be enough. So maybe a 3rd and 4th rounder will be. If we have to throw the 5th round pick in this deal, we will. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen here. So the 93rd overall, the 124th overall, and the 156th are sent over to the Boston Bruins, and we're getting the slow league potential defenseman. So you already know what we do around here. We acquire 1st round picks and then we trade them away. We're picking up 2 1st round picks from the Columbus Blue Jackets right here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like this package is going to be enough, but a 3rd rounder from the Washington Capitals should be enough to make the difference. So not too much is going to happen during the re-sign phase other than qualifying RFAs. Like, we just can't afford to keep anyone. So the Carolina Hurricanes just drafted Pat Welch. He's an 80 overall playmaker that can play center. We have to embrace the fact that Gavin McKenna, he only has 1 more season left in him, and then we're going to be trading him away. But why not bring Welch to the team a season earlier? So Jacobson, the 1st round pick, is going to be shipped over to the Carolina Hurricanes here. But you know what? I want to make sure this is a fair deal. So give me a 3rd round pick as well. We're going to be shipping that over. They're really going to be saying no to this. So I guess we're just going to get Welch for a package like this. Now, Zekov, you've been a great defenseman for us, but unfortunately your time has run out here. We got to trade you away. We can't afford to keep you on this team. So we're going to be picking up this defenseman from the Edmonton Oilers. So our top 6 is almost all 90 overalls except for Hextall. He's an 83, but he's going to keep on developing and he'll probably reach a 90 overall as well. The bottom 6, absolutely fantastic. The 4th line might be a bit weak to our standards, but I mean, hey, an 83 overall, an 80 overall, and another 80 overall, we're going to be all right. Especially with this defense right here. Nobody is stopping this defense, respectfully. We have the best defense in the entire league here, and we're about to do big things this season, especially if McIntyre's still in between the pipes for us. 86 overall, we already know he has fantastic regular seasons. The playoffs are the big test for this team. Well, unfortunately, I have some very bad news for this team. A 62-win season doesn't mean anything. Picking up 112 points here doesn't mean anything. The fantastic season from all these guys means absolutely nothing. The goaltending numbers, incredible, but it means nothing. And do you know why all of this means nothing? We're about to lose in the 1st round to the greatest franchise of all time, the St. Louis Blues. It's just the way it goes sometimes. You can't always beat the best in the game. So it looks like the St. Louis Blues are toying with us a little bit here. They want to try to keep us in this series, make it entertaining for the fans here. But somehow we're going to be winning game 5 here 4-1. Not really too sure how we were able to do that. Beating a great team such as the St. Louis Blues, and in an absolutely crazy upset, we're taking them down a 6-game series. No, but in all seriousness, if we actually lost to the St. Louis Blues, I would have lost my mind considering we won 22 more games than that team. St. Louis is a great team and all, but we won 22 more games. They were a wildcard team. We have the Vancouver Canucks up next. This is going to be a much tougher task. But what am I talking about? If we can beat the St. Louis Blues, we can beat anyone. We're taking down the Vancouver Canucks in a sweep and we're off to the conference finals. So we've advanced to the conference finals and the Minnesota Wild are up next. We're 4 games away from making it back to the Stanley Cup final. It's been a handful of years since we've been there. But you know what? We've got a chip on our shoulder and we're ready to get another Stanley Cup. So things are looking absolutely fantastic for the team right now. We have a 3-1 series lead, looking to close it out in game 5. That's not going to be happening. We're looking to close it out in game 6 here. That's exactly what's happening. We're in the Stanley Cup final and I think we're going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning, but it could be the Ottawa Senators. That series is going to game 7. So it all comes down to this one final matchup. The Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2 fantastic teams. If you've made it to this point, you're a great team, but we're about to find out who's the best. So it's time for the boys to lock in the most important series of the season so far, and things aren't looking the best for us. I mean, we split the series so far. Ideally, I would like to have completed a sweep here, but you know what? We're just going to do it in a 6-game series. We're going to win game 5. right? We're going to win game 5 here, and then we're going to win in game 6. Now, unfortunately, we have to go to game 7 here because the team sucked in game 5, but you know what? A game 7 win's as good as a game 6 win. Okay, seriously, what was I yapping about? A game 6 win being as good as a game 7 win? Everything I just said in the past 10 seconds, don't listen to me. This is when it matters most. Game 7, we got to win a Stanley Cup here. And how are we looking so far? We've split the series. Gavin McKenna is leading the way. I was thinking about trading this man, but you know what? He's about to step up in the 3rd period here. He's picking up the hat trick for the team, and we're Stanley Cup champions. It doesn't look like he's got the hat trick yet, but he's just going to get the OT winner, and that's completing the hat trick for him. Right? Okay, you know what's even worse? I actually thought about trading for this guy right here. I was going to trade for him to be a bottom 6 player for us. He ended up scoring the OT winner against us to win the Stanley Cup. That is incredibly tough. And what makes it even worse is this was Gavin McKenna's final season with the team because we're going to have to trade him away here. And what did he do? Oh, not too much. Only 30 points in 23 games. So I guess a slow season for him. Meanwhile, the goaltending numbers from McIntyre, I'm not going to lie, I do need better from you. A 907 and a 279 is not going to crack it once you get to game 7. That's when you have to be perfect. But you know what? You're not going to be the only guy I blame here because how did we have players that had negative plus minuses? Shepard, you're an 86 overall, Morrow, you're an 87, and then Markstrom, you're an 87. You are going against 3rd line players, which are probably 75 overalls because no team can afford anyone, and these are the numbers you're putting up. You 3 right here are an absolute disgrace. So as we know, Gavin McKenna is not going to be coming back next season, but if I can trade him over to the Anaheim Ducks in order to get these 2 first-round picks that are going to skyrocket in value, I'll definitely do a deal like this. We could have got so much more. That's wild. We could have got 3 first-round picks. But you know what? I'll still take it. And we'll be able to get them by doing something like this, picking up a 2nd and 5th rounder from the Carolina Hurricanes. They're going to be saying no, but as long as we can get this 2nd rounder, then I'll be happy. These 2 picks really aren't going to be enough. So here's a 4th rounder as well. This is quite a lot to give up for a 2nd round pick. But then again, it's part of the process in order for us to get 2 first rounders. So this package right here, I think that's pretty reasonable for 2 future first round picks. They're going to be saying no to this deal still, but you know what? A 3rd rounder can make the difference here. So here's Vegas's 3rd round pick for 2043, and we got this deal done. So we have a handful of first round picks to work with over the next couple seasons. They're all going to increase in value. You already know we're making big time trades. So it's the same old story. RFAs are getting qualified. UFAs are leaving the team. I just want to show you guys for reference. This is an 87 overall defenseman. He won $16.15 million. Now that's not necessarily the worst deal in the world here because we do need an elite left defenseman, so I actually might be bringing this guy back. I'm kind of contradicting what I'm trying to prove here, but here's a great example. Morrow. He's an 84 overall, medium elite potential, great player and all, I got no issue with him, but he is a 3rd line guy for us. 3rd line player wants $10.5 million. This defenseman right here, a 2nd pairing guy, $8 million. McCarthy, he's been a 4th line guy since he came to this team. $3.3 million for a 4th line player. That's a bit OD. But with all of that being said, we're actually going to keep this defenseman on the team. As long as he accepts a deal like this, could we do $14.2 million for the next 6 seasons? If he says yes to this deal, he's coming back to the team. Welcome back. Now we also have to give up 1 extension before we even get into making moves here. It's going to Hextall, $8.8 million for the next 4 years. He's a 2nd line player for us. We got to make sure he stays on this team. So it's time to make some trades here. Ben Nars, we're going to be picking you up from the Toronto Maple Leafs. You're going to be a good left defenseman for us in the future. I shouldn't say in the future. You're going to be a good left defenseman for us right now because you're jumping into the lineup immediately. Now we need some guys for the bottom 6 here, and Morrow, we can't afford to keep you on this team, so I'm going to trade you over to the LA Kings, and we're going to pick up these 3 players right here. They think they're getting some fantastic deal, but now they have to pay Morrow, and they have to pay him a bag. Now over the offseason, we took a massive hit to the team. Gavin McKenna was traded away, but we had to do that. He was going to continue to decline in overall, and his trade value is going to keep on getting lower. Also, if I want to re-sign him, he was going to be looking for $14 million. I can't commit $14 million to a guy that's 34 years old. So with that being said, a +2 boost on the first line, a +1 boost on the second. These guys don't really have great line fits here whatsoever. Welch, I might put you on the top line just because we do need a playmaker up here. We're going to see what happens. Obviously, we're going to be a top team in the NHL just because we have so much amazing talent on this team. However, the line fits, not the greatest in the world. When it comes to the defense, though, I mean, these line fits are amazing. There's no question about that. Well, the goaltending's still not too bad. McIntyre's our guy. The only question I have with this team right now is the forward core. But then again, look, we have 490 overall players. We're going to make it work. So with another season complete, that's going to be another 60-win year for the team as we're finishing first, 61 wins. Everything's fantastic about this team. Well, everything's fantastic until the playoffs come around, but you already know we're going to be losing in the first round. We somehow got past this team last season, and we definitely shouldn't have. McIntyre, a great year from you, 49 wins, 10 shots, a 925 and a 211. Okay, this is something special right here. I have never seen this man put up numbers this good before. And who are we taking on in the first round? The St. Louis Blues. McIntyre just put up numbers we haven't seen in over 50 years. Now we have to play the St. Louis Blues in the first round, and I think we already know how this matchup's going to end. This matchup is going to end with us absolutely dominating defensively. In 3 of our wins, we're only allowing 1 goal each. This game we allowed 4 goals, but you know what? We picked up 9, so we're alright. McIntyre just had himself a historic regular season, and in the postseason, his numbers continue to look absolutely fantastic. Can he lead us to another Stanley Cup here? Can we go 16-0 in the playoffs? It's all up to him. 2 goals is the amount we allowed in this series against the Anaheim Ducks. We scored 3 goals in every game, a 3-0 shutout, a 3-1 win, another 3-1 win, a 3-0 shutout. McIntyre is about to have the greatest season in NHL history. So we've won 8 games in the postseason so far. McIntyre's been absolutely unstoppable. I don't think the Coyotes are stopping us, and if I'm being honest, I can't see any team stopping us right now. So in game number 1, McIntyre picked up another shutout here. He allowed 2 goals here, 2 goals here, and then 2 goals here, but you know what? He picked up back-to-back shutouts. He now has 3 shutouts in the postseason. Okay, now we're starting to fold here. We got to respond to game number 6 here. We can't be losing multiple in a row. What's going on with this team? We have been absolutely fantastic defensively up until this point. Now we're off to game 7. So we can't lose here in the conference finals. If we lose here in the conference finals, then more than likely we're never winning a Stanley Cup again. It's tied 2-2 heading into the 3rd period. What just happened to this team? 5-2. We really lost this game 5-2. So what really happened to our team here? We might not have been the best offensively. I mean, we only had 2 guys over a point a game. And I shouldn't even say over a point a game. They were a point a game exactly. McIntyre, you had a 943 and a 181. A 943 and a 181, and we still didn't win a Stanley Cup. There's nothing more you could have done. And to make it even worse, the Arizona Coyotes are going to win the Stanley Cup. So if we didn't collapse in the conference finals and they swept the Philadelphia Flyers, if we closed out in game number 5 against the Arizona Coyotes, we might have gone 16-1 in the postseason, and McIntyre might have posted a 105 and a 960. But nope, we lost 3 straight games. Alright, so this is what we're doing at the draft. The first thing we're doing is picking up a future first round pick from the Colorado Avalanche. We have 3 first round picks in this draft, but we're trading them all away. The next trade is going to have the 19th overall going over to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a future first round pick, but I think we might be able to get a 3rd rounder in this deal as well. I'm going to offer that package over. We got a future 3rd rounder as well as a first. Now the next trade I'm looking to do is picking up 2 future first round picks from the Dallas Stars, and I think a package like this is going to be enough to get it done. Alright, so I already know what I'm going to be doing during the offseason here. I basically have already decided on what players we're bringing to the team. I'm not too worried about line fits. I'm more worried about player style. I'm more concerned about making sure that we have snipers alongside playmakers. I don't care what your overall is, and I don't care what your line fit is. So it's time for us to begin the trades, and Markstrom, I'm going to send you over to the Chicago Blackhawks. We're picking up Parise. He was just drafted 1st overall. And then the next trade we're going to be doing here is we're picking up Hendricks from the Detroit Red Wings. He's a sniper as well. He'll probably be a 4th line guy for us. And obviously we're not done with the trades yet, because now we're going to be picking up a playmaker from the Dallas Stars. He was just selected 2nd overall. He's going to be another great player for us, and we're going to be having him long term. And when I say long term, I mean the next 3 years. Now that's actually not going to be the final deal we do with the Dallas Stars here, because now we're picking up Brodeur. He's going to be a good left winger for us, 83 overall, 2-way forward. Welcome to the team with a package like this. So now we've done all the moves we have to, but we got to close it out with a Stanley Cup in these next couple of years. We only have 5 seasons left in the rebuild, and these past couple, I don't want to talk about what's happened. Now James, you've been a fantastic player for us. You have a superstar X factor, high elite potential, but I have to give you a massive bag here, and you want $18 million. However, if I send you over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, could I hypothetically get these 3 mediumly potential players? They're going to be saying no to a deal like this, but you know what? We have multiple first-round picks we can work with. Here's Vegas' first-round pick for this season. I'm going to ship that over. They're saying it's just a bit low, so we're going to turn 1 first-round pick and 1 highly potential player into 3 mediumly potential guys. Yeah, this is a very good deal for us. A handful of these guys are locked down for multiple years, 2 years here, 3 years here, 2 years here. A deal like this is going to be very good for us. When you say we need to sweeten the touch, normally that's a 7th round pick, not a 3rd and 4th round pick. But we're getting this deal done. Yeah, we might have taken a slight step back because we did lose James, but I think we're going to be better off moving forward. And with the $16 million in cap space we do have, we're going to do a deal like this. Michael Misa, here's $13 million for 1 season. You're going to be our number 1 line center. Okay, so I'm going to be completely honest. We have a ton of guys playing out of position here. We have a lot of centermen playing either right wing, left wing. It doesn't matter. The fact that this line right here, though, isn't getting any line chemistry boost is very surprising to me. Unless I do something like this. Okay, we're going to do that. Keeping's coming down to the 2nd line, so we get a +1 boost. Every single player on the forward core has an X factor. On the defensive core, every single player except for Nicholas has an X factor. And then our starting goaltender, McIntyre, after that historic season, he's up to 90 overall. He's got 5 X factors. This team is virtually as perfect as it can get. What's going to happen in the postseason though? We all know. So I've gotten to the point now where I really don't care what this team does during the regular season. We won 61 games here. Obviously the offense is going to be absolutely fantastic here. I'm kind of curious to see what McIntyre did, seeing as he did jump up to a 90 overall. 46 wins, 1 shutout, a 904 and a 281. Yeah, not what I was looking for here, but you know what? We're in the playoffs. We're taking on the Arizona Coyotes. It's revenge time. We all know what's on the line here. We got to smoke this team. Now this right here, you love to see it. A sweep over the Arizona Coyotes. That's how you get back. So we've moved on to the second round. We got the Calgary Flames up next. They swept the San Jose Sharks. We swept the Arizona Coyotes. One of these teams is going to be losing their first game in the postseason. So things were looking good for us. We had a 3-1 series lead, but here comes the collapse. We're losing game 5. If we lose game 6 here, then I'm going to have an issue with this team. Why do we always lose? Like seriously, we'll have a 3-1 series lead, a 3-0 series lead, and this team still finds a way to lose. No, like real talk, this is beyond ridiculous. A team this good should not be blowing 3-1 leads this frequently. So moving on to game 7 here, what's it looking like? Okay, Calgary's got the lead here, they're doubling down. We really lost this. I can't believe that just happened. Okay, we blew a 3-1 series lead once again. Back-to-back times in the postseason, and back-to-back times we've been 60-win teams. I don't care who wins the Stanley Cup, we're going right to the draft here, and whoever's selected first overall, we're going to be trading for unless they're a franchise potential player. I got nothing to say. Calgary wins the Stanley Cup. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to see. Now, Calgary, you might have eliminated us in the second round, but how are you going to rebuild without these right here? We're taking 3 first-round picks for the next 3 years. And then with these draft picks right here, we're going to get Edmonton's third rounder from the Calgary Flames. I'm not allowing that team to rebuild. I'm taking everything they have. And to finish the moves off here, Vegas's first-round picks aren't going to have that much value, so I'm sending them over to the Winnipeg Jets. We're going to be exchanging first-round picks here, but we are going to have to give up something else as well. It's going to be Edmonton's third-round pick we got from the Calgary Flames, but even that's not enough. Here's a 4th and 5th-round pick. I don't care about anything other than first-round picks at the moment. So from here on out, I'm not going to show the re-sign phase. It's actually pretty pointless because I'm just qualifying RFAs and letting UFAs walk. I probably should have started doing that like 4 years ago, but you know what? It just doesn't matter. So Cormier, you're playing your final season with the team here. You want $19 million. $19 million. I understand there's inflation in this game, but for a bit of context, the salary cap has gone up 40 million, so it's gone up 50%. Cormier is basically asking for double what a 92 overall was making at the beginning of this video. Yeah, so those numbers don't stay relative with each other. However, one guy will bring back, and I'm going to keep him on the team for the rest of the rebuild here. I don't care what his overall turns into. McIntyre, here's $7 million for the next 4. Okay, the more I think about it, Cormier, I'm going to take back everything I said. You actually might be coming back next season. We're picking up this guy from the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's the first of a couple moves here. The next move is going to have us heading over to the Edmonton Oilers, and we're going to be picking up a young defenseman here. He was just drafted 4th overall. And then our final move is going to see us picking up this left winger from the LA Kings. We're going to give him one more season to develop though in juniors. Now I completely forgot Welch was on this team still because I qualified him as an RFA. I'm shipping over to the Winnipeg Jets and we're getting Blackburn. Now we're done with moves. Now we're entering the final 4 years of the rebuild, and I'm going to set a challenge for this team right here. We have to win 3 Stanley Cups in the next 4 years. And based on the core here, that really shouldn't be that difficult. You already know we're going to be finishing first in the entire league. Burmese Charles, we're probably going to be trading you away next season. We should probably trade you away now, but you know what? I want to give you one last chance at the Stanley Cup. McIntyre, you're going to be the goaltender. Haskins, you're backing him up. And yes, we are rocking a 64 overall backup, but you know what? It really doesn't matter. McIntyre's going to be getting 75 starts this season. We've got to make sure he's ready for the playoffs. He has to play in as many games as possible, and we don't have to worry about him getting worn out. Fatigue's not a thing. So plain and simple, we're washed. A 56 win season. Who only wins 56 games during the regular season? That's how you know we're not the team we used to be. The scoring on this team's taken a massive step back. Just compare the plus minuses to last season. We were in the plus 50, plus 60s for players. Now we're in the plus 20s and plus 19s. Yeah, this team is not what they used to be. McIntyre, oh my god, I just gave you an extension. These are the numbers you're putting up here. How the mighty have fallen. But I don't know if that's necessarily your fault or just the fact that this team didn't play as well in general. Our first round matchup's going to see us taking on the Winnipeg Jets, and since we're not the team we used to be, that means we're going to win a Stanley Cup because the old team used to lose all the time. This team's going to win. Or that's at least the logic I'm going to be using here, because you know what? I want to stay positive. You know what? We're always the best team in the entire league. We just have to perform when it matters most, and now that we're only a 56 win team and not a 61 win team, that's going to make the difference. Now we have a 3-1 series lead, and normally I'd feel really confident, but I'm incredibly scared heading into game 5. Luckily, we're going to be shutting out the Winnipeg Jets. So we'd advance to the second round here, but that doesn't really mean too much because this team's known for losing in the second round, and we're also known for losing in the conference finals. Who would have thought that in the first 10 seasons, we would have won 5 Stanley Cups? Since then, I don't know how many we've won, maybe 3. We'd be lucky if it was 3. I'm pretty sure it's less than that. Over the past 10 years, we've probably won 2. That's got to change though. In these final 4 years, we're going to be picking up another 3. All right, so McIntyre, you're doing something incredible here. You picked up another shutout against the Seattle Kraken, and in these 4 games right here, you picked up 3 shutouts in 4 games. You're back in your prime, and you're right to lead us to a Stanley Cup. Now look who it is, our biggest ops in the Arizona Coyotes, meeting up against them in the conference finals. Not only do I want to sweep this team, I want to shut them out in every single game, and I want to score 7 goals per game. We're not making a statement for whoever we take on in the Stanley Cup. We're making a statement for the Arizona Coyotes, and we're showing them that we're just superior. Real talk, I thought we were getting swept after these 2 losses right there, but you know what? We're bouncing back. 3 straight wins. It's time to make that 4 straight, and we're moving on to the Stanley Cup final, the Florida Panthers. It's been a minute since we've been here. We got all the momentum. We just got to keep on rolling. We're winning a handful of games here. We have a 3-1 series lead. If we blow a 3-1 series lead, hold on, I gotta turn the face cam on. If we blow a 3-1 series lead against this team right here, I'm gonna lose my mind. We're simulating game 5. Okay, we're simulating game 6. I'm not gonna say anything. We're just gonna watch the simulation. We won a Stanley Cup. All right, this team didn't choke. We didn't blow a 3-1 series lead. We had to be quiet for that. Whenever I try to gas this team up, that's when we fold. Silence is key. No, but in all seriousness, how did we almost blow a 3-1 series lead in the Stanley Cup final? The big time players were making big time plays. Look at all the guys over 20 points here. And McIntyre, a 917, a 232, 3 shutouts. You finally won a Stanley Cup. This might be your first Stanley Cup with the team here. I don't think you've ever won a Stanley Cup with us. Maybe you did a long time ago. No, I believe this is the first Stanley Cup you've won with this team. You have been here way too long for this to be your first Stanley Cup. So we won that Stanley Cup, meaning we have 3 more seasons left in this rebuild. We got to bring home 2 more cups. So more than likely, this is going to be the last draft selection I make in this video, and we're going to be ending pretty good, a low elite potential 2-way forward. Now, this is actually a pretty sad way to end the rebuild. In the year 2045, our coach is going to be retiring here, so he's not going to be returning for another season. That means for the final 3, we're going to have to get a new coach. So I'm happy Cormier is kind of smartened up a little bit, and we're going to be able to do a decent deal with him. I mean, it's very expensive for a 91 overall, but 15.5 million is better than what he was asking for before. If we wanted to do a 7-year deal like this earlier, he was wanting 25 million. So yeah, this isn't too bad. Now this is going to be the last offseason of really big moves. Goldman's going to be sent over to the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to be picking up this prospect right here. He was just selected, I think, 4th overall, 3rd or 4th overall. All I know is he's going to be a good player for us in the future because we're going to be keeping him for the next 3 seasons. Now this is going to be the next move we do here. We're picking up Johnston from the Washington Capitals. He won't be playing on the team this season as he is only a 75 overall. We'll give him 1 season to develop in juniors, and then we'll call him up for next season. We're also looking to get a 1st round pick for the Washington Capitals, and I think there is a good chance that pick has a lot of value in the future. So here's Carolina's 3rd round pick, and that's going to be more than enough to get this deal done. Now Burmistrov, you played some big games with the team, but you know what? You've just aged out here. $12.6 million for this season, and you're only an 80 overall. So I'm sending you a 1st rounder, a 2nd, and a 3rd over to the Vancouver Canucks, and we're picking up Peverley. Since we have so much money in cap space, we're actually going to be bringing a handful of guys back here. We're going to be bringing back this sniper right here, 21 years old, medium elite potential, and he's an 86 overall. He's going to keep on getting better, and at $10 million for the next 4 years, why not do that? And with all the money we have, we are going to give out one massive deal like this in free agency, $15.5 million to this 34-year-old. But the most important thing we have to know about him, he's a 90 overall, so he's going to help this team a lot. And to cap off all the moves here, we're actually bringing most of our RFAs back here. We're giving Hendricks $11.6 million for the next 3, and then these are the only 3 RFAs we're not going to be able to afford. I mean, technically Hendricks is an extension. He's coming back next season, but yeah, we're going to be in a good spot for the final couple years of this rebuild. Now this team looks absolutely incredible here, like the lowest overall being an 83. So our forward core is great. Our defensive core is fantastic. No weaknesses here in the slightest. And the goaltending, 85 overall McIntyre, he can hold it down. We've seen what he's been able to do in the past. However, if this team was going to have one weakness, you know where it is? Our coach. This man has 0 line chemistry with any player on this team unless it's on the 3rd line. If you play on the 3rd line, you're going to have great line chemistry. If you play on the 4th line, you're going to have okay line chemistry. chemistry. The top 6 though, nah, this guy doesn't fit with a single player on this team. So with that being said, the coach might be holding us back this season, but then look at the overalls on our team. We're going to be first in the entire league. Okay, so we're not discussing this season. The coach held us back so much. I need our old coach back. I need Kim back. He was an absolute legend. What is the scoring on this team? Not even a single player over a point a game. We used to have multiple players cracking 100 points, and then we have this right here. I don't know what this is. All I know is our coach is getting fired. The goaltending numbers, we're not talking about these. This team has to go on some sort of miracle run in the postseason here. We have 3 postseasons left, and this one's starting right now. We have the Colorado Avalanche. But with the way this team looks right now and the coach that we have, I can't see us having a ton of success. I mean, I will take a 5-game series in the first round for us to advance here, so a nice win against Colorado would be great. There we go. We're moving on to the second round. So you know what I just remembered? We were second in the entire league. If you finish first in the entire league, you very rarely ever win a Stanley Cup. But we're second this time around. You might as well give us that Stanley Cup early then. Now, like real talk, we actually might win a Stanley Cup here, sweeping the Edmonton Oilers. So the President's Trophy curse might have been an actual thing. We're moving on to the conference finals. We're 8-1 in the postseason. Minnesota's going to be a true test for us though. Okay, so the President's Trophy curse was actually a thing because we just swept the Minnesota Wild. Here we are in the Stanley Cup final taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. If this team sweeps Pittsburgh, I'm going to lose my mind. Ain't no way that just happened. 16-1 in the postseason. We went 16-1 in the postseason. We're bringing our coach back. We're running with this guy for next season. 16-1. What is going on here? Nobody had great scoring during the regular season, but here we are in the playoffs. Everyone looks absolutely fantastic here. A handful of guys over a point a game, while the goaltending, a 913 to 262. 16-1. Sometimes this game just doesn't make sense. But you know what? We've won back-to-back Stanley Cups here. We're going for the 3-peat next season. 2 years left in the rebuild. We might as well finish with a 4-peat. So as I said earlier, we're basically done drafting players here. The only thing we're going to be doing is trading for future picks, and we're getting 2 first-rounders from the Columbus Blue Jackets. So when it comes to giving out extensions, we have $34 million to work with, and we have to sign all of these guys right here. A couple of them are going to be traded, like Blackburn. We're probably going to trade you away. You haven't really developed as I was hoping. This defenseman, we'll probably trade him away, but these core guys right here that are all 88 overalls, I want to keep them all on the team. So let's start with Waltz here, and this is the deal we're going to be looking at for him. It's going to be $13 million for the next 4. Our next deal is going to be looking a bit cheaper than that, as we're going to be looking at $12 million for the next 5. And then we're going to cap it off with Parise here, $11.5 million for the next 2. So that means all of these guys right here aren't going to be coming back to the team next season, and more than likely we're actually going to trade them this season because I want to run the exact same team for the final 2 years. Now this is going to be the first deal we're doing here. Hendricks is off to the Carolina Hurricanes along with a 3rd round pick. We're picking up Lawrence. Basically, we're doing this deal to free up $10 million in cap space, and then those 3 guys we gave extensions to, we're going to be able to afford for next season. So as I mentioned earlier, I want to run the exact same team this season and next season, so that means we have to trade away players on 1-year deals, and that's exactly what we're doing in a deal like this. Unfortunately, LA is going to be saying no, but we got draft picks we can work with, and obviously a 1st rounder would be enough, but I don't think we have to do a 1st rounder here. So here's a 2nd rounder for the year 2048, and that deal is going to get accepted. So Gerald's going to be the next defenseman we're going to be acquiring here. We're getting him from the Nashville Predators. It's going to cost us one of our RFAs and a 1st round pick. So this is the defensive core we're going to be running over the next 2 years, minus Nicholas. The only concern I have is Dempsey. Is he going to decline over the next 2 years because he is 33 years old? I'm going to take the risk with him, but you know what? I think we're going to be fine. He's only 33 years old. He's got 2 more good years in him. So now we've got the defensive core locked down. It's time to lock down our forward core. The Edmonton Oilers have Griffin. He's an 85 overall, medium league potential. Here's a good package for you, and I think you're actually coming out on top in this deal because I'm giving you way more trade value than I have to. Now I'm going to slightly take back what I said. I want to run the exact same team for the next 2 years. Now we're basically going to be doing that. However, we have $40 million in cap space. So yeah, I'm going to sign like 2 franchise potential players, and then those 2 guys will just be here for this 1 season. So who are we going to be bringing to this team? I mean, ideally some franchise potential players. This guy's a 96 overall. Yeah, I don't mind if I do. Here's a 1-year deal. We'll do, I don't know, $23 million with you. So here's $23 million for 1 season. I also do want to point out, in the year 2046, basically every player is either a sniper or a playmaker. It is very hard to find 2-way forwards. It's just 99% snipers. A lot of the 2-way forwards that we can pick up here are either 35 or 36 years old. It's very hard to find a young 2-way forward. And the reason I bring that up is I'd love to bring a 2-way forward to the team. So here's $17.5 million to a playmaker. Makes sense, huh? Okay, so I've been finessing this game so much, but I just want to show this. The 2nd overall pick, the 1st overall pick, the 5th overall pick, the 1st overall pick, the 1st overall pick, the 3rd overall pick, the 1st overall pick, the 3rd overall pick, the 5th overall pick, the 1st overall, the 2nd overall, the 9th overall. Blackburn is the latest draft pick on our forward core right here, and he was selected 9th overall. The entire forward core here is basically selected 5th overall and above. Defensively, I think we did the exact same. 4th overall, 6th overall, 4th overall, 2nd overall, 60th overall in Nicholas, and 3rd overall right here. When it comes to the goaltending, McIntyre, it's sad to see you dropping to an 84 overall and losing all those X factors. You're the latest draft pick on this team right now, 168th overall, but you turned into an absolute superstar for us. This is the team we're going to be rocking with the next 2 seasons, barring those 2 guys that picked up in free agency. We're winning at least 1 more Stanley Cup in our final 2 years here. So we needed a bit more evidence on the President's Trophy curse, so we're going to finish first with 62 wins. The offense on this team was much better. We have 3 guys averaging a point a game this season, while the goaltending, McIntyre, a pretty good year for you, 49 wins, 3 shots, a 907 and a 276. But here's where it matters most, the postseason. Now this team has to go on a deep run here, and if we lose in the first or second round, then the President's Trophy curse is a real thing. We have the Calgary Flames up first. It's time to test this theory. Okay, so round number 1, nothing's really happening right here. We're just sweeping the Calgary Flames. Now round number 2 is going to put a real test to the theory. We got the Edmonton Oilers to take on. All right, we're paying a lot of attention right here. We just lost game 5. That means we're down 3-2 in the series. Are we going to be losing in game 6 here and proving that the President's Trophy curse is a real thing? We're going to be winning that one and we're off to game 7. So I'm really just a modern day mythbuster right now. Are we going to lose in game 7 of the second round? We're tied through 1. We're going to be dominating the second period. Are we going to be closing this game out? We're off to the conference finals. So our theory isn't really holding up here because we haven't moved on to the conference finals. However, the Edmonton Oilers put up a fight that they probably shouldn't have against us. This is where it matters most. We're taking on the Minnesota Wild in the conference finals. If we're able to beat the Minnesota Wild, then I'm going to say that the President's Trophy curse is not a real thing. Okay, we have a 3-1 series lead. As long as we don't choke this away, we're going to be making it to the Stanley Cup final. Let's win in game 6 here. Let's not mess around too much. So here we are, the Stanley Cup final. Who are we going to be taking on next? The Boston Bruins. A chance at a three-peat. Here we go. We're simulating the first 4 games. We're dropping game 1, but we're going to be winning 3 straight games here. A three-peat to finish this video out would be absolutely ideal. We're blowing a 3-1 series lead. The President's Trophy curse is coming in. For a bit of context, we won 20 more games than the Boston Bruins, and they finished the season 1-8-1. Here we go. Vegas taking on the Boston Bruins. We're picking up 2 goals in the first period here. It's a 1-goal game entering the third period. They're tying this one up. Here we go. Overtime. Next goal wins the Stanley Cup, and it looks like it's going to be nobody. Okay, we're going to double overtime, and in double overtime, we're Stanley Cup champions. We completed the 3-peat. It's time to complete a 4-peat to finish this video up. We have 1 season left in the rebuild, 1 year left with this team, 1 more Stanley Cup. So unless McIntyre has some absolutely ridiculous fall off, he's going to be coming back to the team because we got to complete a 4-peat with him. He's an 83 overall, starter potential. I'm a bit concerned, I'm not going to lie. He's 34 years old. He's going to keep on declining here, but he has won 3 Stanley Cups in a row. It's kind of hard to turn away from him. So we're going to make 1 move at the draft here, and that's going to be us picking up a future first-round pick from the Carolina Hurricanes. We're giving up way more than we have to, but you know what? I don't want to make any draft picks here. Now, this is a very stupid risk we're taking this season. We're going for the 4-peat. The forward core is incredible. The defensive core is spectacular. The only weakness, McIntyre's dropped to an 81 overall. Fringe starter potential. We're going to ride or die with McIntyre here. I could trade for an 89 overall goaltender. I'm not doing that. McIntyre is our guy. We're living and dying with McIntyre. So it all comes down to this. Year 25 of the rebuild. The Vegas Golden Knights, a 58, 16, and 8 record, scoring 4.5 goals per game while only allowing 2.72. This team's absolutely incredible. And by only allowing 2.72, that tells me McIntyre had another fantastic season. The offense is doing their thing. Look at the plus minuses of everyone here. We were absolutely locked in. And McIntyre, in your final year with the team, 81 overall, 51 wins, 4 shots, a 903 and a 276. It's time to close this out. It's time to win 1 last Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights. We're taking on the LA Kings. We're looking to 4-peat. Not repeat, not 3-peat, 4-peat. I'm all for 3-peating and everything, but you can't 3-peat and then immediately lose in the first round the following season. Okay, hold on. We're actually going to Simcast to finish this off. I'm not watching this team lose just through this simulation screen on the calendar. No, I have to watch period by period for the next 2 games. I need to see the Vegas Golden Knights make this comeback here. We're heading into the third period here. We have a 3-1 lead. We're closing this game out. We're moving to game 7. So the 4-peat is on the line here. We got to get past the LA Kings, and I think we're going to be doing that. Yeah, we got this lockdown. We're winning 8-2. That was the lone scare we're going to have in the postseason. We're going to cruise for the rest. So we made a big comeback against the LA Kings to advance to the second round. We're 12 games away from completing the four-peat. Let's take it game by game here. And now the team's rolling. We're taking down the Edmonton Oilers in a sweep. We got to keep on rolling here. We got all the momentum. I'm just going to simulate through the calendar until we make it to the conference finals. So here we are in the conference finals against our biggest ops, the Arizona Coyotes. Yeah, we got to take this team down in a sweep, and we got to win 6-0 every single game. We split the series so far. Game 5 is going to be a massive one. We're following in that one. We're going to Simcast. Now we got to beat the Arizona Coyotes in back-to-back games to make it to the Stanley Cup final. We're going to be split in the first period here. We're split in the second period. It all comes down to the third period. The Vegas Golden Knights have to outscore the Arizona Coyotes. We're off to game 7. We're staying alive here. So here we go. Game 7 against the Arizona Coyotes. They're picking up the first goal of the game and the second. We have to have a big time third period in order for the four-peat to stay alive here. And unfortunately, it's not going to be happening. We went down 3-0 in the game and we couldn't spark that comeback. The video is over just like that. The four-peat's dead, but we did three-peat to finish out the video, and we did win 3 Stanley Cups in our final 4 years, so I'll take it. So with the Arizona Coyotes winning that final Stanley Cup, franchise mode is now complete, and the 25-year rebuild for the Vegas Golden Knights is over. So when it comes to the all-time record book for the Vegas Golden Knights, you're going to see Leo Carlsson's name a lot here. All-time leader in points, seasons played, assists, games played. Tom Keeping's going to be leading in penalty minutes here, 1,278. Walker Burnett's going to be leading in shutouts. He's got 44. All-time wins is going to be McIntyre. He's picking up 503. The fact that he had more wins than Walker Burnett is very surprising, because Burnett went through a stretch there where he was winning a ton of games. But then again, McIntyre, when he was with the team, we were fantastic. And Tom Keeping, on top of leading in all-time penalty minutes, you're also going to be leading in all-time goals. Looking at the all-time record book, we're going to see Leo Carlsson finishing 5th all-time in games played. Games played for a goaltender, that's going to Walker Burnett, 1,854 games played. Most goals, I don't think we're going to see anyone from our team here. Same with points, but never mind, Leo Carlsson, he's going to be finishing 5th overall, 2,116 points. On top of finishing 5th in points, he's going to be finishing 2nd in assists here, 1,341. And when it comes to wins, Walker Burnett, you almost did it. You almost passed Martin Brodeur. You're finishing with 679. You were just 12 games shy. I kind of regret not keeping Walker Burnett, because I know for a fact if he stayed on our team even longer, he would have passed Marty Brodeur. When it comes to 50-goal seasons, we're not going to see anyone from our team, but Connor Bedard is going to be leading the way. He's picking up 12. 100-point seasons. I'm actually really surprised we're not seeing Leo Carlsson here. I thought he would have had 10 100-point seasons. And just like that, the video is complete. And if you made it all the way to the end here, comment Walker Burnett, the greatest goaltender of all time. He won a handful of Stanley Cups. You know what? Comment any one of our goaltenders. Adin Hill, Logan Thompson, Walker Burnett, McIntyre. We won a Stanley Cup with all 4 of those guys. It doesn't matter who's in between the pipes for this team, we're going to see success.